watch as the seed unfolds, whether any sort of screwery occurs, and we are off. Catastrophe starting in Link's house, picking up some triple bombs. Stinger picking up literally the same thing from Sanctuary. That's quite something. So neither runner is going to have any problem with bombs. Catastrophe with an interesting play here to switch over to Sanctuary as well immediately, possibly based on finding the bombs early on there. So we'll see how his route changes depending on that early discovery, whereas Stinger is just going to continue on his way to Kakariko, and we'll see what is going to be there.
It would have helped if I had the restream unpaused. I've been staring at their names.
Oh my goodness, and bombs coming out of the tree pull as well.
That's a nice tree pull.
That's already 7 bombs for Stinger, and it's going to be a full 10 count for Catastrophe, so it's a really interesting start here. Catastrophe also getting a blue Rippy there, but he opts not to bother with it. Did you see what was on that ledge?
I saw numbers, so I'm thinking it's either rupees or possibly an upgrade.
Okay, it's an arrow upgrade. I saw the arrow and the text below it, so I was panicking that it might have been silvers, but fortunately for both of our runners, it is not just an arrow upgrade. They're not going to mind that too much. Full heart container coming up here in Lost Woods as we follow a pretty standard opening route. If you're new to Randomizer, it's always interesting to watch the beginnings of these races, as runners tend to follow very similar routes in the early game. There's a pretty good meta game for this, and we also have a castle tower small key.
Ooh. If they find lamp and a way to get into the tower, this will give them both chests.
Not only that, but could herald the possible early Aghanim, which you actually just mentioned at the beginning about seeing the execution going up against tower. Well, Aghanim's tower is also a place where you get to enjoy watching the runners kind of. There's no chest to check there after the first 2. You just make your way up the tower quickly, so it might be fun to watch that if that happens.
And we've got Stinger getting into the Blind's hut, our first real treasure trove of items. So we'll get to see what he pulls out of here, if we get a large number of keys or maybe items.
Stinger's almost certainly going to remember to check that back door that he just bombed. Small key to Desert Palace, Power Glove, and big key of Thieves Town. Very nice to pick up early, as well as a big 20. The quip there about going in the back is just because his opponent unfortunately forgot this location in his last race, and it was the bow, and that was rather important. This time, it's a GT compass, so it does not matter at all.
No, just garbage back there today.
All right, so again, both runners following pretty much the same path, with Catastrophe being just a little bit behind Stinger from having checked Link's house first, which won't really make a big difference in the long run. Stinger now heading down into the well, as Catastrophe shortly will. Full heart. The bug net.
There's our Aghanim kill.
Oh,
mirror.
Maybe.
That's nice. And a early sword, 3.5 minutes in. That's nice to have.
Yeah, no runner's ever going to complain.
Only one you get.
That's true. That is possible. Stinger not having enough rupees to make the purchase from the bottle vendor, so he's going to skip it for now. Catastrophe in the same situation. Early bomb count doing pretty well for both runners, but the rupee count is a little more questionable. So we'll see whether they're able to make that up soon.
Yeah, with how close they are to 100 rupees, it's easy enough just to jump down into Blind's hut again and grab the extra 30 rupees. For Stinger especially, he's already at 70. It's nice and easy to get that and get the bottle vendor before you leave Kakariko.
Yep, that's a good call. Or you could just end up getting a big 20 here and possibly another one pretty soon. No bottle to check the sick kid either, so they're just going to move on to south of Kakariko. We'll see whether they find anything interesting down here. Just the 2 locations left to check. The bookshelf, which they can't obtain yet, but it contains a piece of heart. Less than
we
3.
won't be seeing that again.
Unless they're really, really desperate for hearts later on. Almost certainly not.
We get Stinger gambling the race game immediately. We'll see.
Well, this is something I always enjoy asking co-commentators about this. What do you think about the immediate maze race play in Keysanity mode?
I actually don't base it on what mode I'm in. I base it on my bomb count, or whether or not I have boots. If I have more than 6 bombs, I will gamble it. If I have boots, I'll always go in. If I have less than 6 bombs, I'll check it first. Because, especially if I don't have a sword, you're going to need bombs as your weapon.
Very
Or
interesting.
you can just keep pulling bombs out of chests.
I like that approach. It's very analytical and certainly has a really solid basis. We do have Stinger heading down to the south after he picked up the mushroom in the maze game. Both runners now in possession of that. They're both pretty much following the same route. They're both going to head down to the dam, collect the chest here. With a sword, Mini Moldorm Cave will be pretty straightforward, so they'll also head in there almost certainly after this.
Yeah, taking the standard route. With the mirror, a little bit easier to go through the dam. You can do it in one fell swoop. Activate the water and grab the chest in the same go. Saves you a screen transition.
Yep, you can also do a similar trick using the hook shot, clipping into the block to grab the chest, and a fire rod.
Nice. That's a great weapon early.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing to find drowned in the water there, but we'll see what they'll make use of it for. With a sword, of course, you can pretty much just rely on the sword if you'd like, but having the fire rod can be potentially very useful. And of course, it does unlock the ability to do things like complete Desert Palace or clear the basement of Tower of Hera. So very nice, quick job of dealing with the mini Moldorms for Stinger. Catastrophe going for the same thing. Stinger picking up a few more rupees, as well as an Ice Palace small key, a Master Sword, a Misery Mire small key, which is worthless, another red rupee, and a big key of Tower of Hera.
So 2 worthless keys and a pretty good key.
Yeah, I mean, the Ice Palace key at least might be able to speed up their Ice Palace clear whenever they get to that. But yeah, the Misery Mire key, totally worthless. Definitely a lot of access already unlocked just by virtue of the Master Sword, the Fire Rod, the Mirror, the Glove. If they get a lamp, then Death Mountain and Tower of Hera by extension will be totally in logic. But as it is, they could still just head up there.
Yep, take the sequence break. I don't know how they feel about it. Some runners will avoid doing any sequence breaks in order to follow the logic, going with that as their quickest method to beat the seed. And others will break the seed wide open, trying to get what they can as quickly as they can.
That's right. Of course, whenever we refer to the logic, oh, hello, those are Titans Mets.
Now, all we're missing is the Moon Pearl, and we have Dark World access.
Wow, what a very rapid early seed here. Now, that doesn't necessarily say that this would be, overall a very rapid seed. There might be some silliness still awaiting us. But just to complete that thought, whenever we talk about a sequence break in the randomizer, we do, of course, mean there's a logic to how the randomizer places items, and particularly it does not assume that you're going to have to do things like navigate rooms in the dark without a lamp. It requires the lamp to assume that you're able to get up to Death Mountain, for example.
Right, unless, of course, you have the flute, which gives you Death Mountain access, and there's our Moon Pearl. Dark World access through the Kakariko Dark Rock.
Yep. Now, notably, they do have access to the Dark World. They will not have access to either East Death Mountain because of not having the hookshot or the hammer, nor the east side of the Dark World because they have neither the flippers nor the the hammer. So it will be interesting to see. Aghanim could still potentially be required. They've already got one of the keys. They've got the Master Sword to enter the front. It would just be that other key.
First chest. And if they know the Aga Dark Room, they can check. It looks like Stinger's gonna go check that first chest, at least in the castle tower.
Yeah, he may even opt to do the Dark Room to check the second one. Finishing the tower is impossible because he doesn't have the second key, but he has access to that chest if he chooses to check it. Might be a good idea to just get it out of the way if he's confident that Dark Room. Catastrophe doing a little bit of fake flippers. He opts only to check the hobo with that, and he finds 300 rupees there. Nice if he's going to end up routing his way over to Zora. We'll see whether he ends up deciding to try something like that.
Looks like he's going to follow in Stinger's footsteps and head up towards the escape, which is good. He'll get his Moon Pearl, and we'll see what else he can grab there.
Stinger is opting to give the dark room a shot. He only has 5 hearts. Now, this room is not that awful. The part that's going to be hard here is as you get through this maze, there are going to be a couple guards around this spot, but they're not in his path, so he's able to open the chest and get a Compass of Tower of Hera. So good execution of the sequence break, but unfortunately
Nothing
not
to pay it out. Yep. Looks like he's going to take an intentional death to get back to the beginning of Agate Tower, so he can continue an escape, likely.
It's interesting. I wonder if he remembers that he has the mirror. He may have just wanted to take the intentional death anyway for purposes of restoring hearts, but that's just always... It's very uncommon to get the mirror this early, so it's very typical for a runner to just forget.
Oh.
Alright, we're making our way into the escape, where Stinger is now going to check these 3 chests that are all considered pretty accessible by the logic. Catastrophe is going ahead to the back of the escape first, and we'll see whether afterwards he opts to do the Aghanim chest. I would be surprised if he didn't at least check the first one. That is an Ice Palace big key for Stinger.
Not totally required, but it gives you 1 extra item when you do get into Ice Palace.
And it is actually required by the logic, at least, to do that dungeon. So I wonder if the next item they're going to get is flippers, because if so, then Ice Palace is completely clearable. Oh, hammer.
Well, you can get it the first few chests, and there could be some hammer in Ice Palace. We've seen that before.
Possible. Yep. Well, for now, just a red rupee in this second chest and escape. Now we'll be heading down to Zelda's cell. Catastrophe, hot on Stinger's heels, hasn't checked those Aga spots yet, but did fake flipper over to Hobo. So both runners with pretty similar progression right now as far as how much they've been able to check in the time that they've spent. So it's pretty even. Definitely would not call anybody having a lead right now.
And in Keysanity, even if someone has a lead in the beginning, it's very easy for that lead to flip-flop to the other runner. An hour or 2, maybe even an hour and a half in.
Alright, so Stinger opts to save and quit out of the bottom of escape. He does not opt to check the chest in the dark part of the sewers, which is certainly not required, but he did demonstrate that he had the ability to do the other dark room, so perhaps he just preferred not to deal with the snakes in the sewers in the dark. That's certainly a possibility.
The snakes aren't annoying. That one little hallway where there's about 6 of them right there. They have a tendency to troll you, especially if you have low hearts.
Yeah, and we are still rocking just 5. Stinger picks up a piece of heart, 10 arrows, and triple bombs from the back of the escape here. Now, Catastrophe is opting to do this section, and he's making use of a sword. This is a pretty typical technique to figure out where you're going in these dark rooms. Just use the sparkles from your sword to figure out your path. Looks like he's still in the first room. He did manage to get through. Now we'll be seeing that room with the snakes, and he's just using the sword beams to get them out of his way here. Looks like there's one more that was in his way, but he gets it out of the way. Manages to get down the stairs. One more room to navigate, and we'll see what's in that chest coming up.
Stinger just getting a compass from the bottle vendor to Swamp Palace. Not totally useful.
Looks like, Catastrophe found the chest, and it was unfortunately just 5 rupees. It does look like he will be making that play on Aghanim's Tower real quick. We'll see whether he opts to do the second chest, which we do know right now would be a waste of time. Meanwhile, Stinger is on his way into the Dark World, and he's going to start with Skull Woods.
It's fairly common play. Skull Woods has value 9 times out of 10.
Yep, all these chests being within the logic as soon as you get to the Dark World, basically these first 4 here. Stinger not having a small key will start by rounding this top chest because he thinks it's pretty likely he'll have to go back down and around through this other room that you'll see in just a minute. Yeah,
Or, yeah, he'll try opening the door first just to make sure.
And just 10 arrows from there. It looks like Catastrophe is trying the dark room in Aghanim's tower. Might be going the wrong way here. This is a pretty common mistake. People sometimes get confused as to which direction you're supposed to go here.
Looks like he went too far down instead of up. So he missed his turn.
Now, fortunately, we know that if Catastrophe does not manage to get this chest, it does not matter. It will not cause any problems for him. Unfortunately, he doesn't know that.
He did find the torch, though, so now he can see.
There
gets his compass.
Yay. Alright, so nothing special so far for Stinger in the first half of Skull Woods. He's gonna do some no major glitches strats, try to do this room without having to kill the Gibdos, and he does manage to get behind that statue, dodging the Wall Master and making his way in. What will we find in this chest? 50 rupees.
Looks like he's opting not to head to the back of Skull Woods at the moment, even though he has the fire rod. Or maybe he's remembered he has fire rod. He's cutting back.
Yep, this is an interesting play. It could mean that he has decided, you know what, I'm going to just lay it all on the line and try Mothula with 5 hearts and green mail. But I think more likely what we're going to see is he will check that chest in the back there and just figure out if it's something important. He's also on 1 heart here. He's got to be a little careful. That is one way to be careful.
He's got 2 hearts. He can farm hearts in the holy room, where the room just changes up where you can fall if he wants to. I believe there are 3 hearts there he can get back to full before Mothula, should he decide to.
Yep. Catastrophe is following in Stinger's footsteps as Stinger finds a 10 bomb upgrade. I'm guessing he's taking a... Well, he's opting not to. He could have taken a Death Warp here back to this door. It would have been slightly slower, but would have like restored 1 heart. And he figures, it's not worth that extra time for just 1 heart. I'll be able to fill up, as Baker mentioned, in this room. We do have Catastrophe heading into the Village of Thieves, and he finds a small key to Turtle Rock in the chess game. So that's a really nice start in that particular location. The Turtle Rock keys, of course, it's the dungeon with the 2nd most keys, having 4. And you're really going to want to get as many of those as possible as soon as possible.
Yeah, as of now, we haven't found any... Ooh, half magic. That's a nice safety to have. Would have been nice for Stinger, as well as he's heading towards Mothula to have half magic.
Yep, having a little bit of fun with these torches, trying to get the optimal lighting pattern, the least magic usage, but manages to get through. Gets Bunny Beam. Often you might just think, let me just take a quick damage boost to get rid of the bunny effect, but in this case, it really doesn't want to.
Yeah, with this low hearts, you want as many as you can heading into Mothula. And with only... Oh, he's got 5 now, so he can take 2 hits from Mothula the Bodied or the Beams. And the spikes each do 1 heart, so as long as he doesn't get hit too much, he'll be alright.
That's right, well, here we go. Going with the Master Sword slashes for now. Getting a Fire Rod shot in there. Mothula going straight up to the top of the room, being very uncooperative. Stinger's got good position so far. He has not taken any damage. Even though Mothula's body comes right towards him, he manages to avoid a hit.
Doing good. Gets a hit.
1 hit from Spike there.
He's got him,
there
though.
It is.
And we have Catastrophe going through the dig dame. And Skull Woods is a crystal.
Wow, what an impressive play by Stinger there to go to Mothula on very low hearts and very low resources. And he comes up with a crystal. We'll see whether this affords him an advantage.
Bombos tablet. Bombo's medallion, that is, at the digging game for Catastrophe.
That was a lot
nice
of digs to get that Bombos medallion as well.
That was 26-27, looks like.
So Stinger victorious over Mothiel is heading back out of Skullwoods. We'll see whether he opts to do a North Dark World check where he could access the Graveyard Ledge Cave, possibly even go to Catfish, or whether he routes toward the Village of Thieves as Catastrophe did. Who, meanwhile, he is picking up the blacksmith and taking him back to his house to see what he's going to get from that.
I'm going to get a bumper cave check from Stinger. Just a shield there. So not going to see that likely.
Everyone's favorite toy. The piece of heart coming from the blacksmith now. We are seeing that North Dark World play from Stinger, while Catastrophe is going to take a walk around the south side of Hyrule. He's got the chest in tow, which he'll be able to cart down past the Haunted Grove, and also the cave south of the Haunted Grove, which is accessible with the mirror. So again, a pretty standard route here. Having access to the mirror makes it pretty nice that you can get all those locations all at once.
Yeah, we can check cave 45, doesn't have to worry about it later. Small key in Graveyard Ledge, but it's only to Misery Mire, so we don't need it.
Bomb upgrade in that cave 45 you mentioned, or sometimes referred to as the cave south of the Grove. So Stinger opts not to head on to Catfish. Looks like he will go ahead back to the Village of Thieves.
Don't believe he can get to Catfish. He doesn't have flippers yet.
Oh, you're right.
I know.
Yep.
Hook shot? No, he's on the wrong side to hook shot, I think.
Yeah, correct. It would be flippers, or you would have to approach from the south using hammer. I always forget that. It's very, very easy to lose track of what items specifically you have to get access to what. Stinger, fortunately, keeping track of that. Me, not so much.
So Stinger's going to grab likely the 3 houses around the Village of Outcasts. It'll be interesting to see if he goes into Thieves Town. Catastrophe didn't, even though they both have the big key to Thieves Town, so they could full clear it.
Yep, and they might be opting, at least Catastrophe might be opting to wait for the small key and the hammer so that they can check all the chests all in one go. Stinger, we'll see if he makes a similar decision here. It's not unreasonable given the remaining availability of Hype Cave, for example, which we do see Catastrophe heading to check.
Yeah, will it have hype today, or just meh?
Well, here we go. The Thief in the front has a small key, 2 Ice Palace, not very useful beyond the first, unfortunately. Red Rupee, Piece of Heart, 50 rupees, and the flippers.
The flippers are nice. That unlocks first few chests in Ice Palace.
And it eliminates Aghanim.
Yep. So now we can swim over to Pod if we like. No keys, so we can only check the first chest.
Stinger is making that Thieves Town play. Not finding anything in the first 2 chests so far, though. Catastrophe taking a brief moment to think about his route. A lot of stuff just kind of opened up to him simultaneously, so he's kind of thinking, what's next? What's the actual thing? So save and quit. We're going to see him head to Sanctuary. Where to? Stinger picking up a Piece of Heart and small key to Misery Mire. That is all the Mire keys already.
Don't have to worry about finding another one. And I believe with all 3, you don't have to pick up any in the dungeon itself.
Yeah, that's
you can just leave them.
All the pickups. All right, in addition to checking the front 4, Stinger will move on and clear Thieves Town, and we'll find out whether or not that's a crystal. I don't believe we've had any map checks from either runner so far, because I don't even know that we've found any maps yet.
I don't believe we have yet, and Catastrophe didn't talk to the bomb shop when he was there, so we didn't get to see what the 5-6 were.
And neither runner has made that trip over to Sahasrali either, so very little knowledge in terms of what's what on this seed so far, other than Mathiel having that crystal. Well, we'll be finding out here from Thieves Town what that's going to be at least, so we'll get some knowledge before too long.
Yep, and Catastrophe clearing out all the enemies so he doesn't have to worry about getting bodied by the murdered dactyls.
Those things are absolutely brutal. The level of damage they deal is just silly.
Yeah, especially if you're just in green mail, and in the NMG route you don't pick up other mail upgrades, so if you start getting hit by the murdered dactyls and can't get a swing on them, you're done for.
Stinger getting a little bit walled by the grasshoppers here. He's only on 2 hearts and in green mail as mentioned, so a little bit dicey in Thieves Town with that level of health. No powder either, so he's going to need to be a little careful, but down in the cells with the maiden, he'll be able to collect a little bit of recovery there.
Yeah, he's got 2 hearts down there. He's got the heart in front of Blind's door. So he can get through.
Crap, Stinger. Oh my.
He's gotta watch out. Oh, the jukes, though. That was nice. Getting out of that room.
Man. Oh, apparently he knows about the heart there.
Yep.
So Stinger busting out some of those moves. As you were mentioning with no major glitches, you know, Stinger being a runner of no major glitches in the past,
yep.
He's got some knowledge of kind of the precise movement and, you know, careful strats there. So it's impressive to see. We do have Catastrophe heading to the northeast Dark World. Looks like we'll probably see the Catfish combo into Zora.
Yeah, with the mirror, it makes this nice and clean. You don't have to worry about when do you route Catfish in. And
yeah, this is
a mushroom check.
Oh, yeah.
Mushroom check, too. Get everything all at once.
That's a very solid routing play by Catastrophe. Being able to tie these all together is really nice.
And we have a fetch quest. Cool.
That's perfect. That's just perfect.
I'll take it.
All right.
Just in the opposite side of the map.
Stinger entering the blind fight now. Should be pretty straightforward. Again, talking about no major glitches strats, there's a pretty straightforward strat for this. Looks like he fell off of it a little bit, but he's going to make use of sword beams. And again, some of that footwork to dodge the thingies, the red thingies.
The disembodied heads and fireballs.
A little bit
he
of
gets
damage
blind
there at
down.
the end. But yeah, no problem.
Arrow upgrade and the green pendant.
Oh, interesting.
Now Thieves seems to be off in the green pendant.
A Catastrophe getting some bombs chucked at him and he opts not to take them. So now we'll be seeing some Waterfall Cave, a Zora Ledge, and the Zora check itself. Catastrophe having 570 rupees makes that pretty good. Another Skullwood small key. So between those 2 Skullwood small keys that we've seen recently, one from Stinger and one from Catastrophe, and the one that's in the dungeon, that is what the logic requires in order for beating the dungeon to be possible. So Skullwoods is now within the logic, which means it was a valid play for Stinger to go there. And
another small key on the ledge of Zora.
Ooh, boy. You know, we're missing a lot of those Palace of Darkness small keys, as well as 3 of the Turtle Rock ones.
Yeah, there's 6 of those just hanging out, waiting to be found. And depending on how well you can route Pod, you need 4 to all of them.
Zora coughs up a small key, too. Good lord. Ah, it's a worthless one.
A useless one.
Oh, he saved and quit before.
He didn't get it.
That's
oh,
very
no.
interesting.
Could be just muscle memory thinking, oh, Zora doesn't have anything. It's time to get out of here. But he might need that later on.
Yeah, and it also could have been like a quick, you know, kind of brain fart type deal where he was like, oh, well, you know, I don't have the flippers or whatever. I'm just doing Zora here, before remembering, oh crap, I do have the flippers. I don't know, we'll see, I guess. Could have been a calculated decision, but it definitely seems really risky. In any case, he's going over to Eastern Palace, he's going to Sahasrara, does not have that green pendant that Stinger does have, but he'll be able to find out that Thieves' Town is a pendant. Find out that he knows nothing on the map. And Sahasrara tells us something that we, as the commentators, already know. And in his closet, we find a big 20, and our first map of Swamp Palace.
So there's some knowledge there. We don't yet have access to the majority of Swamp Palace, missing that one little small key, but we do have the mirror and the flippers, so could be soon that we could see it.
That's true. And there is that first chest, which could potentially have something important. And for the runner's sake, we'll hope not, because that's a solid, like, minute just to open that dungeon and find whatever's in there.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want, is something required in that first chest, because that's usually the last place that you're going to check.
Alright, so we've got Stinger making the South Dark World circuit while Catastrophe works his way into Eastern Palace, and this is the first we're seeing of that. So the left side of your screen is going to be the place that you're going to want to watch for now, as Catastrophe comes upon this first chest here, and we'll see what's in that. Just 20 rupees. There are 3 more chests available in this dungeon presently for Catastrophe. One of them is out of the logic, technically, because he does not have the lamp. And then, of course, there's the big chest, which he doesn't have the big key for. Stinger, of course, picking up all the same stuff that Catastrophe just found a little bit earlier on his South Dark World circuit. I expect we'll also see the Hype Cave play from him, which we are. Two chests down. 0 useful items found for Catastrophe. The map of Skull Woods, of course, going to just tell him that Skull Woods is a crystal. We do already know that. He could already know that, but he opted not to clear the dungeon, which again is a totally reasonable decision when you only have 5 hearts at the time.
Misses the quick room kill in Stalfo's room, but no worries, it's not a big deal.
Yep, that's another one of those flute.
Oh, the
Hello.
flute! Hey, that's nice. That makes it worth the trip over here.
Yeah, that was a very nice find right now. Stinger is on 1 heart, and he's trying to get this purple chest to the chest guy. So this is a little bit exciting for him right now, where it really doesn't need to be this exciting. Catastrophe
He
does
could always mirror. The Light World enemies do a lot less damage.
I think
he feels.
I think at 1 heart
okay.
they would still kill him though.
The crows, I think, do a half a heart.
Okay.
The guards, I think, do a full heart though.
Well, he's opting to stay
he's
in
okay.
the Dark World.
See, maybe he's gonna give us the bomb shop check. He's heading that way.
Okay, that would make sense.
It's free information.
Meanwhile, Catastrophe made his way through the dark rooms in Eastern Palace. These, of course, are some of the easier dark rooms in the game. I would say most runners can learn these pretty quickly. And he's going to check this vanilla big key chest, which just contains 20 rupees.
So Pod and Tower of Hera are our 5 and 6 crystals.
That's right, getting the knowledge from the bomb vendor there. And we do have that Tower of Hera big key. We don't have the lamp to put it in logic, but we do have access to do it.
Yeah, Catastrophe has the flute, so it's in logic for him to go up there.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, of course. Stinger with those flippers is going to do the Lake Hylia checks. We'll probably see the hobo right now. We know that's 300 rupees from Catastrophe. So we'll see what Catastrophe ends up doing now. He's got that flute. He's going to activate it. And then where will he head? Directly Death Mountain? Just go straight to Hera, maybe?
I'd say he goes to Death Mountain, because unless he starts dipping into the Dark World dungeons, the Skull Woods, and the Thieves' Town that he hasn't done yet, while he's in Kakariko.
Certainly would make sense to prefer Death Mountain over those things, because Hera will be way easier than Skullwood. He still only has 6 hearts. I don't know how confident Catastrophe is in his play, excuse me. I know Stinger apparently is very confident right now, choosing to go do Mothiel at 5 hearts, so maybe we'll see something similarly crazy from him coming up. Maybe he'll just go into Ice Palace, who knows?
We're going to get a desert check from Catastrophe. A big key on the ledge. Is he going to go see Agana? Nope.
He's actually just
maybe
straight into Mire area.
Yeah.
And mirror onto that ledge and get that big key.
Oh yeah, we have access through the mirror. That's right.
So we should also now be able to find out what that medallion is, and we only have one of the medallions. We'll see whether that is the one. It is not.
Yeah. And we may be able to see what is on Zora ledge if Stinger feels like he should pick it up. Key up there.
You certainly hope so.
He moved the screen over, so he did see it.
Alright, so Catastrophe picked up from Myra Shed a small key to Palace of Darkness. So that is the first of the aforementioned 6 that exist. Looks like he'll also check Checkerboard Cave before he goes into Desert Palace proper. He does have the DP small key, so he will be able to check the right side of the dungeon as well, and he'll probably transition that into an Agina check after that.
There's our first bottle. So that opens up Sick Kid, and it has a fairy in it, so that's a nice safety to have.
Happily, we do see Stinger checking that Zora Ledge key. What is it gonna be?
Turtle Rock small key.
Wow, that is
one of the ones we do need.
Yeah, that's potentially very important. Now you can clear Turtle Rock with only 3 keys. However, if you do that, you cannot check the vanilla big key chest location in the middle of the big lava room, and that location could potentially have something required, and if so, being short a key is a real big problem. Hopefully this will not come back to bite Catastrophe, at least for his sake. Alright. Catastrophe did make the Agina play before entering Desert and only found a heart container, which is nice and all, but Stinger, meanwhile, he has that green pendant. Is he going to turn it in? The suspense is killing me.
Yeah. It looked like he was thinking about it. He's walking right past it. He's not going to check it. I wonder if he forgot that he has it.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I must be in the Twilight Zone right now.
Oh, there's the big key of Desert Palace.
What is going on? Oh my goodness.
Works out.
Alright, so Stinger opting to not turn in the green pendant, guessing he forgot he had it from Thieves' Town, and he didn't even talk to Sahasrara to find out what dungeon was the green pendant, which is also really curious. Catastrophe, meanwhile, found the vanilla desert big key, effectively, right outside the dungeon on the desert ledge. So he's going to be able to check everything in desert and finish the dungeon. Well, at least he'll be able to see what's on the torch, but can't get it because he does not have the boots. We do have Stinger also heading into Eastern.
A small key. That's not a good item to see there, because you don't know if you actually need that.
The seed, man. Oh, goodness. Another big key.
It's pod. That's one we need. It's one of our 5/6 crystals.
That's right. It will be a required dungeon, and also it's just a very nice big key to have when you go in there with all the small keys that you'll collect, presumably before going there. You will be able to also check that big chest with your hammer jump. Well, of
Nope.
course, presuming that Catastrophe knows how to do that. I know that Stinger does.
Oh, tempered. That's nice find. Won't be looking for another sword upgrade. And
That will
plus,
also.
Silverless had it a lot easier than with Master Sword, as Stinger
Oh yeah, that is
picks
for
up
sure.
his flute.
Yeah, I think if Catastrophe had any problems with having to do Fire Rod Landmos, then Tempered Sword will certainly make that a lot nicer. Alright, you're seeing the Dark Rooms from Stinger. He already, of course, demonstrated to us earlier that he wasn't really afraid of doing Dark Rooms. He is...
Looks like he had a little trouble with that switch. He had to
Yeah.
dodge the anti-fairies a couple times.
I think he ended up stuck on the left wall there, which made it a little awkward to get, excuse me, awkward to hit that switch. But he's good now, so he's going to be making his way to the left side of the dungeon to pick up his big 20. Meanwhile, we'll see some Landmos from Catastrophe573. The Landmola is the boss of Desert Palace. Bunch of worms going to pop out of the ground, and presumably he's just going to Fire Rod each of them twice, and they will die nice and quick.
1 down, 2 down. Does he get the 1 cycle? Nope,
Oh,
he just
almost.
misses it.
Almost.
But he gets it just as he comes out the ground. He drops a compass.
Oh.
And a
Stinger's
crystal.
walking back out.
Stinger remembered he had the green pendant.
Here it is. What is it?
What is it? A shield.
Alright, and the save and quit with his flute. He will be heading to Kakariko to activate that. Catastrophe, having finished up Desert, has now got his first crystal. So, 1 crystal apiece. Stinger having collected the green pendant from Thieves Town, not having checked that big chest in that dungeon. And otherwise, the runners are pretty even right about now.
Ooh, we get the nice golden guard glitch from Catastrophe as he flutes from Desert and swaps the green palette with the yellow palette. And he's going to turn in his shovel.
What that is?
Yeah, it does it with a couple different palettes. If I don't remember where the other one is, but if you flute, it might be Death Mountain, you can get them to be purple, which is interesting.
What is with every fetch quest having a small key? Regrettably, this one's the Castle Tower, and there's 0 use for that as they already have full Dark World access, and the Lumberjack item is unnecessary. But we will see this Sick Kid check, first time we can see this, from Checkerboard Cave, and it's just a compass.
All right. Let's see where Stinger heads off to with his flute. What's he doing? Yeah, he's going to be following in Catastrophe's footsteps, heading into my area.
Doesn't even bother to check the ledge. He's going to get it anyway, and he'll find out that it's the Desert Palace big key. See whether he opts to go into Desert before or after Agina. Otherwise, it looks like the 2 runners are following pretty similar routes.
Ooh, Swamp Palace is a crystal, so we will be on the lookout for that small key to Swamp.
Yeah, those dungeons with 1 small key each tend to, you tend to be looking for those small keys as kind of blockers for your progression in the seed. Desert Palace, Hera maybe, Thieves Town potentially, and then of course Swamp is really
Yeah, Hera's that one that you want to find it before you go to Tower of Hera, or you never want to find it. That way, you don't have to worry too hard about it. Because it's that one. If you don't have it, it's that one item location that it's in the back of your mind. What is it? Do I need it? And it's just a worry that you don't want.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. Stinger now heading into Desert Palace. He is going to be able to full clear, had the big key from the ledge now and the small key already. So he'll go ahead and work on that. Catastrophe making his way into Skull, this time having the Tempered Sword as opposed to Stinger who went in with the Master Sword. So this may be a pretty easy clear for Catastrophe, or it may still be challenging. He does only have 8 hearts. We'll actually see. He might even decide, you know what, I'll put off Skull for a little bit, even though he does now know it's a crystal. fact, he also should soon, now with that Ice Palace map that Stinger also has, but Stinger never checked the map, we may soon find out whether or not ice is crystal. We might? Yeah? Catastrophe?
Nope, he's got his mind set on Skull Woods.
Stinger is going to pick up his fire sword as well, while you see Catastrophe making use of that very sword to take out those Gibdos very quickly, making this room a lot easier.
Stinger's checking the Light World map. We don't have any of those maps yet.
Still disappointed to find that we know nothing about the status of Light World dungeons, except he will soon find that desert is a crystal.
So as we head towards boss fights of dungeons we've already seen, if you are watching these runners and you really like them, drop them a follow. They're good speedrunners. They put a lot on the line to get on to the tournament. They're putting on a great show for you. And give a follow to the people behind the scenes of the tournament. Our tracker, Hahasel, and my co-commentator, Vulujin, doing a great job.
And my co-commentator as well, Who42 Baker. Definitely also make sure to follow all the Speed Gaming channels, because there's always going to be good stuff on them. That's Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 4. Tons of good tournaments going on right now. Stinger heading into the Land Molars fight. We'll see that Fire Rod strat from him as well. Slightly off on the timing. Maybe, almost could have said he got better spawns, but then that last one just jumped into the ground a little too quickly. But no problem on the second phase.
And Stinger picks up his second crystal.
Meanwhile, Catastrophe is making his way for his second as well.
Maybe this time we'll see Stinger head off into Death Mountain, and we'll get to see what's up there.
It's like we're gonna go back in the Dark World real quick. Pick up that the bottle and checkerboard cave real quick.
Yeah.
Alright, well, feast your eyes on the left side of your screen. Let's see how Catastrophe is able to do on Mothula. He's going for a spin.
He's getting a spin. That's not going to work. The tempered spin's going to do buttered damage, which is negated on Mothula because it does the same damage as a spike.
I believe
whatever reason.
I believe that bug's actually fixed in Randomizer, but in either case,
not
that
with
was
a tempered
quick.
spin.
Okay, interesting.
I don't believe. Yeah, it's only buttered slashes that are fixed, if I recall correctly. I'm pretty sure that's right.
But they just made it. That it took us to discuss that, he managed to
he killed the
Mothula. That was incredibly impressive. So very good fight for him. No problem. Didn't even take damage. Maybe he did. I don't remember.
He's at full health right now. He's got it. He didn't take any damage.
Well, he got refilled by the fight. Anyway, video games are happening right now.
It totally isn't almost 2 a.m.
Definitely not almost 11 p.m. on the West Coast here either. All right, we do finally see one of the two runners opt to go to Death Mountain. Stinger's going to start with the cave with the old man. And I actually don't... Yeah, I don't see the sword there.
There he is. I don't think he was using it at first.
That's interesting.
He might have just tried to go for it, then fell down a hole.
Meanwhile, Catastrophe heading south from Skullwood, so he may be heading back to Thieves Town to finish that up. He does now know it's a pendant, but Thieves Town very often has something good in the front 4 chests, and if it doesn't, then it also very often has something good anyway in the back half. So never a bad play to get Thieves Town out of the way. It's reasonably quick.
And we only get an arrow upgrade from the old man that we rescued. So Stinger's gonna head up the mountain, and we'll get to see what's on Spectacle Rock.
Both runners have collected a few more hearts, but they're still don't protect you that much from the cabbages falling down Death Mountain, each of which does 1 and seems to find a way to... Really?
Small keys everywhere.
There's another way in here, isn't
Just
there?
out
No,
of
it's a
reach. Nope. Map. Be interesting to see if he grabs it. No, he's opting not to.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a fair bit of time investment to go collect the item inside Spectacle Rock. And if it's just a map, like, whatever, you'll get that knowledge eventually anyway.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the small key is to...
Hera. I guess they left it under the doormat.
This seed has a sense of humor right now.
Yeah.
Alright. Tower of Hera check from Stinger. This is the first time we're seeing this dungeon. The cage just containing a piece of heart. 5 more items to go in here.
Big 20.
Stinger, not super in need of rupees, did already claim his small key to Hyrule Castle off of Zora. And he has not opened the way into Palace of Darkness, so that will be pretty much the thing that he's looking for. Chooses not to go for the take a break strat on the tower room, taking a little bit of damage. Maybe he'll be a little more careful here, I don't know. Good traversal of the Hellway from Catastrophe and Thieves Town while Stinger's just waiting on these tiles. And he's on his way to the attic where he will pick up the first of the back 4 chests in Thieves Town, which I think all of those were also unnecessary. The only thing they found was a Skullwood small key.
Yeah, I believe it was all garbage in Thieves Town.
Speaking of garbage.
Yeah. The only real item, I believe, was the Fisher-Price shield, which came from the green pendant, and even that is... you don't really need. It doesn't give you anything added.
But it looks cool.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I guess it completes Link's look.
Alright, Stinger hitting the baby switch there to get access to climb the tower more efficiently back up if he happens to fall at the wrong place on Moldorm. Going for the bomb jump here with no boots. I believe I was just chatting with him before this run, and he said how much he hates that bomb jump, but he manages to pull it off without having boots, and it's just a big 20 for his efforts.
It is one of the more annoying bomb jumps, because it's not like it just drops you into a void and spawns you at the door. It drops you down a couple floors, and then you have to climb back up knowing that you failed a bomb jump, and you have to decide whether or not you're going to try it again.
Yeah, in fact, that's probably why he triggered the switch back to be orange on his way up, just to make sure that if that did happen, because he knew he was going to need to do that bomb jump. Moldorm for Stinger right now. Going for a slash on the first one because of bad positioning by Moldorm, but now he gets a good spin, and that's it for the boss. And Catastrophe now will begin blind.
It's a good first phase on blind.
Making a bit of use of the sword
Second phase works well. Kept blind up at the top of the room.
A little bit of a dangerous situation, but he does have a fairy that he picked up. But he is fine anyway. Manages to take out blind, collect his arrow upgrade, and his green pendant.
Yep, and Death Mountain has turned out to be a total bust for the moment. He didn't find any progression there. Beyond the crystal at the top of the tower.
Yep, so Stinger now with 3 crystals. Catastrophe with 2 crystals. The difference between them just being Tower of Hera right now. Stinger is now chasing down the same fetch quest that Catastrophe just did a little bit ago. He's going to go dig up his castle tower small key. Yay. Well, maybe not
He
yet.
will, eventually. He's going to turn in his bottle to the sick kid first.
Get his
And
compass.
Get his Boy Scout compass.
So, I know that there's one location that these runners don't want to go to, but I know is the correct play. And that is Ice Palace.
Yep. It opened up the moment they got their Titan's Mitts, Moon Pearls, and they had that Fire Rod early. And they got the flippers. It's sitting out there in the middle of Lake Hylia Dark World. It's calling to them.
And you know, it's funny because obviously there's no way to there's no direct hint that the seed gives that a particular place is the place to go. But given the early items that were accessible, it did seem like it was almost hinting at Ice Palace based on giving them the mitt very early, the Fire Rod, and then also the flippers. It even gave them Bombos, like as an extra added bit of incentive.
It's almost like it's saying, come over here, Hammer's here. I got your progression right here.
Catastrophe following in Stinger's footsteps, heading up to Death Mountain. He's going to do the pretty much the same plays, head into Hera. We'll see whether he opts to maybe, chance not doing the basement. I would be kind of surprised if he skipped it, but, especially considering what this seed has been. But you never know. Sometimes runners will like to just kind of gamble something to see if they can save a little bit of time.
Yeah, that would be a good gamble to take, especially with the little tile room. You can cut that out of your route. Save a minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's a pretty non-trivial amount of time.
Yeah. And he's going to go for tile room.
Yep.
He's heading for it. I mean, you can hit the key right there. It's right in the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, kind of got to feel like there's not that many more things left. So it's a good play to think that this might have something. Stinger heading up to Catfish. He had not checked this earlier. He had done flippers up to this area, so he came from the light world. So he's going to collect his triple bombs. Be a little bit disappointed. We'll see whether he decides maybe to try Palace of Darkness with just his one key. We also have not seen the pyramid checked by either runner, so I wonder if we'll see that play from him.
Well, he's staying in Dark World, so he could be heading down that way towards the pyramid, and perhaps even to check the very first chest of pod. Because beyond that, Ice Palace, I believe, is the only thing left.
Well, he does have one pod small key, so he could head in and check the drop-down chest and the bridge chest, and then yeah, that would pretty much be it.
Or we could hope that the bow is on pyramid. Then it would open up a little bit more of pod.
That would be something. Well, here it is. Stinger, of course, has already been to Aga, so he won't be able to loop that in with this pyramid visit. But we will see what's on that ledge. Wow. That is the Cane of Samaria.
Oh. That doesn't actually unlock anything right this second.
It doesn't, but boy, is it nice to have.
You don't have to worry about it trolling you later on.
It does look like Stinger is making this pod play right now. It certainly seems a little bit more inviting than Ice Palace. But we'll see, depending on what he acquires here, whether or not Ice Palace does become the play. Catastrophe opting not to bother with the bomb jump across to the big chest in Hera, so slightly slower than what Stinger did, but certainly a lot safer. And he doesn't have any problems with that, doesn't lose any time. And he'll make his way up, defeat Moldor momentarily, and collect his next crystal, while Stinger makes his way into pod and gets extorted for 110 rupees by Kiki the monkey.
Our favorite blackmail artist. She's been running this since the 90s.
All right, good first spin by Catastrophe on Moldorm. You only need a second slash with the Tempered Sword. He's going for another spin, might not have realized that, but fortunately gets the kill. No problem, and he'll collect his third crystal. So both runners pretty close together right now.
First chest is book.
Well.
That lets us access Bombos tablet, Ether tablet, and we can ped check now too.
We've got 2 more chests available in this dungeon. Stinger will open the front door and check them. That means that he will need at least 5 of the pod small keys in order to clear this dungeon. He can skip the 6th one by doing a hammer jump, and having watched his matches before and knowing him personally, I do know that he's capable of the hello,
hook shot.
That's the hook shot.
There's progression.
Wow.
That's East Death Mountain, East Dark Death Mountain as well.
Yep, that opens up a lot right now.
So pod is the play.
What's in this third chest? Just the green rupee.
Here's $1. Thanks for coming down.
So Catastrophe fluted to 5 actually, and unfortunately realized that you cannot get into pod that way right now since we don't have the hammer. Looks like both the hammer and the bow going to be rather elusive items in this seed. Although we're going to get like 14 items or something right now, so certainly could see both of those.
Stinger getting dead rocked as he attempts to get past the old man's front door.
Catastrophe beginning the long bootsless walk over to Palace of Darkness in the Dark World, and good lord, Stinger is just getting the ever-loving daylights trolled out of him by these cabbages.
Sometimes I tend to think that they're not RNG, but they actually use the player's location to send the rocks down. Because I remember getting hit by 3 at one time. They just converged on my location, and it was the worst.
Stinger opts to take a quick Dark World trip, try to get a ferry there, and then he's heading up to Ether Tablet first, which he got access to with the book. For a second, he had been about to hookshot across, but then he remembered that this is available, so he's going to check this first. And on the Ether Tablet, we have
A small key.
A small key, yet again,
To Ganon's Tower. Not totally necessary, but that's nice to have.
Catastrophe discovering his Cane of Samaria, going to be very happy to have that. Oh gosh,
Stinger's got to be careful. He doesn't have any more cabbages to worry about, but there are a few dead rocks on the next few screens.
He does have a fairy in a bottle, but I'm sure he would rather not use it right here.
Yeah, you always feel bad if you use it on a silly place like the overworld. Those fairies and bottles are for bosses and places where you need that one last heart to get past and damage boost through. Not for a dead rock on Death Mountain.
Stinger opting to do this cool route that I really like, where you go to the Dark World first and then use the mirror to set up here. So I'm going to start with Paradox Cave, and we're going to get 7 chests checked in here. Here's a small key to Thieves Town. Oh, I don't think Stinger wants to see that.
No, not already having cleared Thieves Town, but no hammer yet, so he can't get that big chest.
That is a good point. Coming into the second part of Paradox Cave, the 5 out of the 7 chests here. Gonna bomb that switch, take a lot of damage. Everything's fine.
A heart.
Well, that's nice.
It's 2 hearts.
More rupees. And a big key. To Turtle Rock.
Don't know
So
if it's
that's
needed
Stinger's.
yet, but
Could be nice soon, though, potentially. If
Yeah.
Bombos is the Turtle Rock medallion, I wonder if we'll see him just head in. He just got the Cane of Samaria.
well, he doesn't have hammer still. We still need that hammer
Oh, God.
to activate that top portal.
All right, revised plan. He's going to get the hammer in Super Bunny Cave.
Right
Turtle
here,
Rock.
it's gotta be
That's
that
right.
lower chest.
So Turtle Rock will be Bombos, and he will head straight in. All the value is going to be there. As Catastrophe picks up his book, and hopefully will also pick up. Yes, will
All right.
head in deeper, pick up that hook shot.
Got worried for a second that he might nope out of there, getting the book. And thinking about it, that's what I would have done.
Alas. So neither of the chests in Super
Darn.
Bunny was a hammer. I'm very disappointed, but we'll get it next time.
Oh, we still have Hookshot Cave. And the island, I believe. Ice Palace is a crystal. Or not a crystal. Pendant.
Yeah, the other one.
The other one.
Misery Mire is a crystal, so now we have that knowledge as well. That was
I didn't see what that was.
Yeah, that was very quick. I think I saw a horizontal line, so I believe quick. I'm going to double check as we see on the restream. Yep, quick.
Quick, okay. And just a heart piece on the floating island, so we won't have to go there.
Yep, so we'll head into Hookshot Cave just to get these 4 chests. Stinger very low on health and probably still doesn't want to die because he has Spiral Cave left to check in the light world as long as he doesn't forget it. Blue mail. Well, that's fantastic.
A little bit of safety.
All right, Catastrophe, having collected the hookshot in the book. Nice.
Map of Turtle Rock.
Having collected
Right
the
after your
hookshot in the
map.
book, heading up
And
here
your
to
hammer.
the hammer.
There's your Turtle Rock access. Well, Turtle Rock portal access. Now we just need the Quake medallion.
Oh man, Stinger having to take the that quick fall in order to return from Hookshot Cave. He's now down at 1 heart, so he will check Spiral Cave, and then what is next? Ooh, the Tektite coming in there, hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Stinger in possession of the hookshot could use that to make Spiral Cave a little bit safer, but the Tempered Sword does have a pretty good reach.
Yeah. And he's gotten all the berries down, so he doesn't have to worry about slicing them while they're shocking.
Yep, and the mini mold worms kindly getting out of his way. I'm gonna guess the lamp.
All right, there's the lamp.
And he
What on
does
earth did the seed want you to do to get that?
Well, I think everything they've done actually so far was in logic. They didn't get anything from the old man, as far as I can tell.
Oh,
So I think
yeah,
they were...
they didn't. Yeah, they didn't actually have to get anything from Dark Rooms, did they?
Yeah, that's correct. All right. So we have the lamp, we have the hammer, we have the hookshot, we have the cane of Samaria. So let's go to Ice Palace.
It's full clearable now.
Great play by Stinger so far, as he's certainly made all the reads here. Catastrophe doing pretty much the same. Has been following right along, is only a little bit behind, mostly due to just kind of slightly different early game decisions. Didn't opt to check Thieves Town the first time through, which at this point doesn't really matter. Both runners skipped that big chest, and they do now have the big key, the small key, and they will soon have the hammer in Catastrophe's case. Stinger already does.
And we now know all of our dungeon prizes. The Turtle Rock is Crystal 3, which makes Eastern our last crystal, or pendant. That other one.
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting strats by Stinger here, going with the bombs. I love it.
He got them all.
That's very nice. You can kill them just as quick with a Tempered Sword spin, but that adds a little bit of lag, whereas the bombs just kill them 1 hit. Looks like Catastrophe is doing Light World first of Death Mountain, and then we'll do Dark World. So you see him doing Spiral Cave before having gone to Hookshot Cave to get that hammer. Now, another interesting note here is Stinger could opt to do the Ice Palace bomb jump, which he does know how to do, or he could opt to skip it. He has the Cane of Samaria, He has a big key and he has a small key, so he could do that and full clear the dungeon, and it would be a little bit faster. Looks like right now he is opting to do the bomb jump, so this is interesting. It might be slightly slower overall, but also, of course, it's a trick he's skilled at, so he should be fine.
Yeah, he's got this.
Maybe. Okay, this position
He's totally
looks
got
better. Nope, wait, nope, that was bad.
He's got it this time.
There we go. Easy trick.
It's every time. It's only when the commentators say you've got this trick down pat that you'll mess it up.
Pretty much.
The only time.
Go with some more bomb strats on these Pengators again. Very effective. And using the small key, he can go directly to the right, which is a really nice thing to be able to do in Ice Palace.
Alright, Catastrophe heading into Hookshot Cave. Will be collecting his hammer just very shortly.
And then we'll see whether or not that leads him into Turtle Rock, which I'm just kidding. How would he possibly do that? Doesn't have Quake. My brain, let me tell you. Alright, Stinger checking these kind of far off chests in Ice Palace. Finds a pod small key. Catastrophe with a couple rage slashes there. It's about time.
Is he gonna try? It looks like he's gonna try to get in.
Well, he'll see that's a crystal, and then he'll check what the medallion is, and he'll know that he doesn't have the option.
Yeah, okay.
It's like he might open it. Sorry, open the portal, that is.
Oh,
nah.
He's gonna flute away. Okay.
Alright, the Freezor room chest for Stinger contains a compass, and he does have the big key, so he'll be able to check the big chest as well. Always a good luxury to have on your first visit of Ice Palace.
Yes.
First and hopefully only. Another pod small key.
We just need 2 more.
Yep, finding all of those here, potentially. Could get another one from the iced tea room, and then another one from Cold Stare, and just be done.
Yeah, that'd be nice. We already have the big key for it, and we just need the small key for Swamp Palace. Big key for Mire. Bow, Ice Rod, Quake. There's actually quite a bit left for go mode.
Yeah, the doling out of items has been somewhat slow here.
I was gonna go for it. We're very close to go mode, and the list just kept going.
So Catastrophe opted not to go directly to Ice Palace with this. That is a Ganon's Tower small key. Potentially nice if they end up not finding the big key soon. Stinger having the hook shot and opting not to use it here makes this room a little bit easier.
The red meringue is hiding out in Peg Cave. Catastrophe opting not to get it. He's already got the blue meringue, which is all you really need for a boomerang.
Probably not even using that one. Oh wow, this is quite a play. He is heading back into Thieves Town to just check that one chest. If this is something important, potentially huge for him. If it's not something important, it's like a 2-minute time investment for almost nothing.
Yeah, if it pans out, this is the lead switch where Stinger looks like he's ahead, heading into Ice Palace, grabbing all those small keys for Pod. We'll see. We have to really see what turns out to be in the big chest.
Stinger with the Tempered Sword opting to go for the no major glitches strats, just fire rod it down and try to lock him in the corner. Didn't quite get the full lock, but he does knock out 2 of the puffs already, and the third one is soon to follow. The very clean fight. and a sand card for his troubles, and the red pendant.
See, boomerang is great use of the boomerang on Catastrophe side. Knocking that switch without having to get in the path of the spikes.
That's perfect. So it is worth noting that both runners are absolutely going to need at least one of the pod keys from Ice. They won't need to finish the dungeon, but at least one of those keys is required because there's 2 in there, and they will each need at least 5 to finish the dungeon because of having spent 1 on the front door. Or I guess to full clear the dungeon, I should be very clear. Maybe there's nothing important in pod, in which case Stinger might just have wasted a whole bunch of time.
Oh, it's just a small key to Ganon's tower in the big chest.
Oh. Stinger is actually making this same play? No, Pet Cave, right. I was going to say, I will be somewhat surprised if we do see Stinger make the play for that Thieves Town big chest. It definitely seems like the kind of thing where, again, this is based on my personal knowledge, but it seems like the kind of thing where he would say, I don't want to go for like 2 minutes into Thieves Town just to check that one location, because I'm screwed if that's it.
Yep, and we're getting a Bombos check, I believe, on Catastrophe's side. That or a single chest in Swamp, but...
Oh, I will be so happy if he parlays this into a single Swamp chest check.
Well, if he gets the small key to Swamp on the Bombos tablet, he's right there. He can jump right in and full clear the dungeon.
I think we might be seeing the exact same play by Stinger, just slightly behind. Just the heart.
Just the heart.
So right now this is an effective tie, in the sense that at least they have the same amount of crystal progression, and the red pendant probably is nothing. We don't know what's on the pedestal yet, so maybe it's actually required. That's something that we're not going to find out for a little bit, but what we do know
he's going
is...
for it.
Oh, excellent. I love it. What we do know is that anything that is on the pedestal it can't be the bow, and it can't be blocked by the bow. Or it can't be blocking the bow, excuse me, because we're going to need that to do Eastern Palace, which is the last crystal pendant. Oh, God.
The thing we don't usually need.
Save me, words are impossible.
Stinger's fluting away. To pod. Probably can use those keys he just picked up.
Yep, gets him a lot more access, and here we go with that one chest in Swamp. Could be the vanilla key, could be anything.
Could be a heart piece. That's gotta hurt Catastrophe. You're hoping that in gambling that this is gonna be big. I just spent 2 minutes opening this dungeon, and now I'm gonna have to do it again because that was worthless.
Yeah, so as far as percentage plays go, Stinger's definitely got the bigger percentage for him right now. Looks like Catastrophe will head over to Ice Palace now, and that will get him the 2 pod keys, and it seems pretty likely that these are the intended progression right now. There's going to be something either in the, well, they've already got access to the mail section, yeah, so it's going to be something in the back section of pod, which does become logically unlocked at 3 total keys. It is also possible that if Stinger wanted, he could check that vanilla big key chest location. Looks like he's opting not to do so. He will also be able to bomb jump into the dark maze here if he wants, and check the big chest. Well, right now he's not going to do anything. He's going to back out of this room.
Who's going for the hover? That's what he's doing.
But yeah, doing that would not be in the logic right now. It might allow him to sequence break and get something important for later. That is a
or you could just get a vanilla key. Just pull that right out of your pocket.
Oh, goodness. All right, 2 more chests here that will be in the logic. Piece of heart. And a big key to Misery Mire.
Okay.
But they can't enter Mire. They don't have Quake. Where's Quake?
Could be locked in here somewhere. In pod.
I don't believe any of these chests is
harmless
now in logic.
hellway?
They don't have enough keys.
There it is. The harmless hellway.
Okay. My brain's exploding. Alright, Stinger heading back over. He will set up his bomb jump now. This commonly referred to as the hammer jump. It's a pixel perfect jump here. And the position to line up on is not that bad to line up. Stinger gets it. Very, very nice. Then misses his bomb. Got the hard part. Alright, Dark Maze chests. Again, not in logic right now, but he can check them anyway. Very nice Ice Palace bomb jump by Catastrophe. He is also opting to do this, although he could choose a different route and full clear the dungeon more efficiently. Stinger looks like he will back out and check the vanilla big key chest location. So this will clear the entire dungeon except the bow side and the boss, and he will need 1 more small key to be able to finish up.
Well, that extra key could be right here. Spend a key, get a key.
You're a witch. Get out of here. Oh my gosh.
I prefer a warlock.
Wow.
Alright,
what is he even doing with this? He can't finish the dungeon. He goes with the bow.
Do anything, but he's probably thinking he can.
Yeah, he probably just had a brief, like, his eyes lit up for a second.
There it is.
But yeah,
he remembered mirrors, and now he needs the bow.
Well, that was truly something special. I guess, actually, that puts every one of those chests in logic. They actually were all expected right now. So that explains why we found Quake in there. So yeah, Misery Mire's on the table, and this will be full clearable. As always, with a no major glitches runner, it's really fun to watch what they do with the parlor room here in Misery Mire when they get to the Wizrobes and what are the enemies? Popos?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those little squirrely
tentacle monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that will be a
just annoying.
They are.
And after about 8 or 10 kills, they drop a red rupee. So, using fire rod strats through here. Going nicely.
Yep, missed 1 Popo, but snipes him with the fire rod, so that's that. Catastrophe on the left, going for a bomb jump across this hole here, makes it a slightly faster route to pick up this iced tea chest, the far one, which unfortunately just contained, if I recall correctly, a GT small key.
That is correct. And we have Stinger doing left side first. No.
Yeah, he'll opt to check the
center
first. Chest first, just in case it has something important. But either way, you're gonna end up checking everything at this point. You have not so little, but you're lacking a lot of things, so you're gonna check all the locations pretty much.
Yeah, there's a lot that he wants, and maybe Mire's got it.
Alright, he remembered that he had already flipped that switch, so he's good.
Map of Eastern, but we already know it by process of elimination.
Yep, map's no longer useful to us at this stage. Catastrophe now has picked up those 2 pod small keys, so he'll be able to follow along the sequence, but unfortunately because this was such a linear sequence and Stinger was able to get to this point of it sooner, that is going to give Stinger a pretty sizable lead right now. But we'll see if something along the way here, like that Swamp House small key, finds a way to troll him. Really, it's just it's that small key, the ice rod, and the bow at this point, pretty much. Oh, and the GT big key.
Yeah, but that could be in GT. We can just count on it being there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's never been anywhere
It's
else.
never anywhere else, and it's never there until it is.
All right. Catastrophe using Bombos on the beginning there. He's taken a lot of damage from the body of Coldster. So, oh!
But he still has the fairy? Yes.
I believe he does. Yes. Okay. Whew, that was a very quick alpha strike by Coldster there. He does manage to get one of the puffballs down and a second one as well, so he should be good now. There it is.
Yep.
Whew.
And Stinger did pick up the cape, so that does put Spike Cave in logic as an invincibility item. And there's butter.
Sword.
Nice.
I'll make Ganon really straightforward if it wasn't already enough. Oh, Stinger!
He's gonna... Yeah, he died.
Yep.
But he also has a fairy. I think he has two, actually. Because he picked up two bottles. And they each
That's
had a
right,
fairy.
the second one was also a fairy bottle. Alright, Catastrophe saving and quitting from the Dark World back. Just arbitrary choice on his part. And now he will head directly to Pod as he's got his 3 small keys. Pretty clear breadcrumb to head over here from Ice Palace. And that's heart refill for Stinger there. We're gonna head to the back end of the back end of Misery Mire. These dark rooms, fortunately, they did do Spiral Cave, both runners, so they have that lamp, which will make these pretty straightforward, as opposed to without, they would be really miserable. Though, to be honest, given what we've seen from both runners, I wouldn't be surprised if they're both capable of doing Dark Misery Mire. Alright, clean work of the dark rooms by Stinger here, making his way into the end of Misery Mire. Now, the interesting thing is Stinger does not have the bow nor silver arrows, which, of course, would go very well with a bow. As Catastrophe about to pick up his vanilla pod key, his second of the 2, I believe, in that big key chest location. So let's see what Stinger does on Vitreous. Looks like he's going with the damage boost on the slime into a nice golden sword spin right in the middle of those eyeballs. Incredibly quick phase 1, and then should be able to make quick work of phase 2 as well.
Vitreous is down, and he has a heart piece. So perhaps Spike Cave is the next play, as we got the cape.
Maybe. I know they both checked Bumper Cave, and that was just a shield, so the cape not being of use in that particular way. And they already had access to Aga, which we already know is worthless anyway. So pretty much the only way the cape could be of value is letting them get through Spike Cave. That said, I believe this current version of the logic may not necessarily treat invulnerability items and Spike Cave the same way. So it actually might not even be a breadcrumb, even if he thinks it is.
You know, I'm not entirely sure either.
That said, we'll see.
It did put it in one of the logics. It did put Spike Cave in with half magic and invincibility item.
Yeah, that's correct.
And
I definitely remember that. Nowadays, I don't know what the logic for Spike Cave is. Looks like Stinger, he may be heading to include that as Catastrophe picks up the Quake Medallion and few slashes there. It's been a pretty slow seed in the overall view, but kind of annoying to only be getting that medallion for 2 dungeons right now.
This Stinger could also be going for Turtle Rock. That's now open. They have Hammer, Quake, Samaria. They can get in. They just cannot beat Trinex yet. Unless they find the Ice Rod somewhere along the way.
Well, Ice Rod does very often seem to be in Turtle Rock. But yeah, that's the question is, I suppose since he's doing this, there's a very high likelihood he's going to Turtle Rock first, if he's even going to check Spike Cave. Looks like we are seeing that attempted bomb jump by Catastrophe. This chest is in logic. The game actually is expecting him to spend his last key to open the dark maze and go in there manually, but he is choosing to hammer jump so that he doesn't have to worry about finding the last key. That said, this is a pretty difficult trick. It's very precise. Stinger managed to get a very good one. Catastrophe gets the lineup and does get bombed across. Very nice. Someone in chat helpfully copy and pasted the PHP code for the logic for Spike Cave, and even if I wanted to, I would not be able to read that in the span of doing commentary. So I'll read it later and we'll figure it out. All right.
If I read that right, it's saying that it can block only certain items. It gives you need hammer, you need extended items, you need a lift upgrade, Moon Pearl, King of Brian.
All right, sure.
And it's frankly, it looks like a mess.
All right,
so if you can cheese your way into Spike Cave, hey, boots.
Yo, I know what those are.
If you can cheese your way into Spike Cave, do it. You're not going to hurt anything.
Pretty much, yeah. So, Catastrophe, again, following the trail directly into Misery Mire, the obvious play. Stinger working his way through Turtle Rock, getting the boots. Very nice pickup to have right now. Catastrophe wouldn't have had an opportunity to pick that up any sooner either, so pretty much it's even play for both of them. But yeah, Stinger with a definite lead right now, and hopefully he'll be able to hold on to it. At least he's hoping he'll be able to hold on to it as he progresses through here. Managing to dodge. Come on!
More vanilla keys.
This seed,
what
dude.
Is it? Vanilla ice.
Well, we know the ice rod can't be vanilla at least, because you did check that location. But still, come on. All right, so Stinger with 3 small keys has the ability, for Turtle Rock that is, has the ability to finish the dungeon, full clear except for one chest, and that is the one you saw on your screen just there, the big key chest in the vanilla game. And knowing Stinger, there's no way he is going to check that chest. But, of course, you gotta wonder, as he does walk away from it, what is in that
Ice Rod.
Yep.
It could be Ice Rod. And in Keysanity, that is a horrible place for Ice Rod, because you always want to skip that chest, because it lowers the amount of keys that you need for full completion.
Yep. Pretty much the only situation where you're okay with checking that chest is that you enter the dungeon with all 4 small keys and you're still in need of items. In that case, sure, fine, check the chest. But otherwise, basically everyone's going to avoid it. And so we're going to see, well, we might or might not see whether that bites Stinger, I suppose.
He could just pull another Turtle Rock key, though. I've seen it in Minute Cave before.
Yep.
And you just backtrack your way.
But there's 2 items Stinger is actually looking for right now. One of them is the Swamp Palace small key, and the other one is the bow, and that will be it. After that, well, okay, Ice Rod, but that will be it. After that point, he's in go mode.
The validation arrow, though.
Great. Oh, and
no bow to shoot it, but...
Why do they still need so many things, dude? We're an hour 34 in. You asked for a sub 2 seed. We are not getting that.
There's hope. Just gotta let them use major glitches, jump into GP, and
that is a taunt if I've ever seen one. The Swamp Palace, big key. That does nothing for our runners. They don't even need that to finish the dungeon. Oh, goodness. Catastrophe picking up his cape from the vanilla big key location. And there's the bow! Oh, excellent.
In Turtle Rock.
So that is one item that he needed. He is down to just a few more items. The Swamp Palace small key, the Ice Rod, and the Ganon's Tower big key. That'll be it.
Yeah.
Where are we going to find these items? Is one of them going to be on Laser Bridge? Are all three going to be on Laser Bridge? Probably not.
A sub 2.
Everything on Laser Bridge. That would give a sub 2 possibility. If you could go mode Swamp and then go directly to Ganon's Tower and finish, that would be something. Well, seems less likely now. That's a big 20. That's a small
Swamp
key.
Palace.
To Swamp!
That's what we want.
Next? What's the next one? It's
Powder.
That's still really nice. They're both going to really like having that. What's next? The last item on Laser Bridge. What will it be? He gets knocked off again. It's fine. He's got time. He'll check it. Let's go. It is 10 arrows.
Okay.
So that's it. He's going to have to leave Turtle Rock. He cannot finish it right now. He doesn't have an extra small key to check that Ice Rod. Sorry. To check that vanilla big key chest, which I really hope is not the Ice Rod. He really hopes it's not the Ice Rod. I don't know what you hope for, but man, be kind to our runners here.
I'd rather it wasn't. But it would be a great troll. Just to have it sitting and an ice rod sitting above the lava. I don't know, it just works.
Catastrophe has made good work of his Misery Mire. He's finished his full clear. He is now heading to the end, and we'll see what strats he opts to use on Vitreous. Again, he does have the gold sword now, so I'm guessing we'll see something very similar, but then he'll be following along. We'll see whether he opts to also go to Turtle Rock immediately or make some other play, but looks like Turtle Rock was the right play at this point.
Yeah, Turtle Rock unlocked quite a bit. With the boots, there's 3 locations. There's that Bonk torch in Desert that has a small key that could be the Turtle Rock small key that would unlock the big key chest. Then there's the Bonk Rocks and the King's Tomb up by Sanctuary.
So I do want to answer a question in chat because sometimes questions in chat come up that point out really good discussion points. And the question was, that chest that was skipped in Turtle Rock, is it possible for that to have been the 4th small key? And the answer is yes, it is possible for that to be a small key to Turtle Rock, because then it would be an even trade. That is the big key of Skull Woods. This actually might be kind of annoying for Stinger now. He's getting a lot of items that are kind of unlocking. Oh no,
lots of single locations.
Yeah, and Catastrophe looks like he had to go back upstairs. Okay, all right, it's fine. He just forgot to flip the switch, that's all. I got a little bit confused as to where those switches were and how far back he had to go, but we're good.
He just went one room back.
All right, so it looks like he's going with a much safer strat. Just stand in one spot, spam that sword, let the eyeballs come to you, no problem. Watch out for the lightning, and he should be good to go.
He should have cape at this point too, so he went through Misery Mire. He's got 7 out of 8, so he should have gotten the cape. So if he feels scared by the giant eyeball chasing him around, he can always cape and stand there spamming sword.
Looks like he opted not to do so, but should still be fine. There it is.
He's got him down.
Collects his piece of heart, and will also collect the crystal and be able to move on. And we'll see if he makes the next play, which, again, the correct one right now as far as making the getting the next progression item is going to be Turtle Rock. That's Pod Small Key. Fortunately, Stinger does not need that, but there we go. There's the 6th one. Stinger not forgetting not to drown the key here. Does pick it up before releasing the water, and we'll see whether he opts to check the left side, which is somewhat slow, or whether he just fills the water and then comes back afterwards, potentially.
Looks like he's going to check it.
Yep. Reasonable play. You need enough remaining items, which I think is 2 right now, that you might as well just get it out of the way. And I guess depending on that Turtle Rock Big Key chest, you might technically need a 3rd item.
Oh, Catastrophe is doing Spike Cave.
Yeah.
See if this pans out. And this is one way to cheese the Spike Cave. Use the hook shot, gives you iframes while it's extended, and zips you closer to your next location.
Chest on the left side of swamp, not panning out for Stinger.
A heart, or not a heart. What is that? A bottle.
Yeah, the fairy bottle. Stinger coming up with the heart, so a little bit of a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
But yeah, neither of them panning out for these guys so far. Looks like Catastrophe now will head over to Turtle Rock. I suppose there's almost nothing else left for him to do. Even having done the Thieves Town big chest, really just has nothing but Turtle Rock at this point. Stinger having done a pretty good job over the course of this race. They both followed a very similar route. There were slight deviations when they entered the Dark World, as far as Stinger heading to Skull first, Catastrophe doing the village first, and opting not to clear Thieves Town his first visit, while Stinger did. He has managed to build up a pretty good lead here. He is the entirety of that first Turtle Rock visit ahead of Catastrophe, and is deep into Swamp as well. So that's a pretty sizable advantage that it'll be pretty difficult at this point for Catastrophe to come back. He's going to need a very heavy troll by that Ganon's Tower Big Key. For example, he might need it to be in Tile Room, and Stinger does everything else first and leaves the dungeon without checking Tile Room, and Catastrophe goes there first. Yeah. That sounds pretty likely.
It could happen. Anything could happen. This is rando. We have vanilla small keys in their own dungeon. Keys right next door to their dungeon. Anything can happen here.
Yeah, the keys have been rather fun today, with the Desert Palace Big Key being right outside Desert Palace, the Hera Small Key right outside Hera, the Vanilla TR Key, the 2 Vanilla Pod Keys. Stinger making very quick work of Argus here, using the hook shot and the gold sword to take out the puffballs. Guy very quickly. He's already onto the 2nd phase. Looks like he will go with some fire rod strats here, and possibly the quick kill method. Almost got it.
I missed it.
There he goes. Just some bombs for his trouble. And the 5th, not 6th, 5th crystal. And so now he still has a pod available to clear. He'll be able to do the bow side, check 2 chests, finish the boss, get a 3rd item there. And then what? Where could the ice rod be?
Yeah, it all depends on what he finds in pod. The only thing to come out of Swamp Palace really was Skullwood's big chest, big key, and red mail. So another single item location and some safety.
Notably, the runners also have not found silver arrows, which of course could be buried literally any chest in the game. The logic expects you to have them to beat Ganon, but by the time you reach Ganon, every single location is available, so again, it can be literally anywhere. That said, given the level of competence displayed by both runners, I can't imagine either of them is incapable of silverless, but they might have varying levels of confidence with the silverless droughts.
At the very least, they don't have to do Master Sword Silverless. They each have Gold Sword, so 12 spins in final phase makes it a lot easier than 24.
Yeah, and the Gold Sword also certainly not required to get an optimal first 2 phases, but it just makes it way easier. Alright, and the first arrow is fired in the match by Stinger. 1 hour, 45 minutes in. Here are these bow side chests. Here we go. It's a bomb upgrade.
And what do we got? Is it the Ice Rod? No.
It's Jack.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get the
my
map to
goodness.
Thieves Town, somewhere we were about an hour ago.
Alright, so
Can't
Catastrophe.
go through that door yet.
He really wants to. He might be getting a
Yeah.
little nervous. Certainly at this point, I might be thinking, God, this has been so slow. My opponent certainly must be ahead. But, you know, you never know. It's very hard to guess what's in the mind of a rando player during their race.
Nope. There you go. He's got it.
Yep, that's a feel I also know deeply.
Yeah, I've bonked against those pegs, thinking I had that switched the right way.
Alright, Catastrophe working his way into the back half of Turtle Rock. Gonna check Mimic Cave. Gonna check the big chest. Gonna get his bow momentarily. And then he's gonna head to Laser Bridge. He, at 4 hearts, probably would really like to have that powder, but he's gonna have to wait a little bit as it's on Laser Bridge. Pretty
Nice
good
turtle
work.
bird.
Yeah, pretty good execution on those terrapins there.
That is what they're called, aren't they?
Yeah.
God.
A name I only know because of the hint you get on like the Bombos tablet if it has a key to pod.
This game and its names.
I mean. All right, Helmosaur King for StingerPA on the right side of your screen. There's going to be a pretty straightforward boss for him with the hammer and then the gold sword to just wipe him out real quick. One
And
spin,
Catastrophe,
1 slash.
not crazy happy about the bow. Right there, a few rage slashes.
Yeah, I would not be either. And no, not even one of the needed remaining items found on Helmosaur
Ooh.
King or in Pod or in Swamp. So we're down to just a few locations. One of those is Bat Cave, which just got opened by the powder. We'll see whether Stinger opts to head there.
If he goes to Sanctuary, he can route in the King's Tomb, Bonk Rocks, and powder the Batman all in one
Great
go.
point.
Or
Catastrophe?
just dash past.
No,
I thought he was gonna go right for powder.
So Catastrophe opted to take the safety exit at the bottom of this room here on 3 hearts. Certainly a good idea. Make things a little safer for him. Cane
There's
of
Brian's
Brian.
cane.
Ugh. Getting the powder
Now
there.
we can be invincible and hit things at the same time. With our invincibility.
I'm just noticing Catastrophe is actually missing a Turtle Rock small key.
Yeah, the one that was on Zora's ledge.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
he's a bit farther behind than
Wow.
you may think at first, because we're not entirely sure if he remembers that he left a key there or if it's gone from his mind entirely.
That is really rough now. Right about now, yeah, he's realizing that he's out of keys. So he didn't check the vanilla big key chest. and also does not have a key to open the door to Trinex. And we had mentioned back at the time they did Sora, you do need 3 Turtle Rock keys to finish the dungeon, and then you need 4 to full clear. And unfortunately, right now, that is looking like the only remaining key they have. Now, the good news for Catastrophe is the 4th key is considered required by the logic to beat the dungeon. So it's got to be available. Like, they can't even beat the dungeon without collecting all 4 keys, at least according to the logic. So somewhere it's out there. The question for Catastrophe is going to be where, and whether or not that vanilla big key location has something. If it does, he is in a very bad situation here. Ditto if it has the vanilla, if it has a Turtle Rock small key in that spot. So meanwhile, we are going to see the Batcave check by Stinger. We're seeing Catastrophe head back into Desert. We haven't seen this one
check
yet.
that bonk torch.
That's right.
See what that small key is.
So the best possible situation for Catastrophe is that there's nothing in the vanilla big key chest, just a green bottle for Stinger, and that this is a Turtle Rock key. If those 2 things are true, he is saved.
It's a Turtle Rock key.
Oh, wow.
Let's just hope he doesn't check the big key chest.
Well, that's the question, right? Because Stinger right now is still lacking the Ice Rod. He hasn't gotten this key yet. He's going to get this, and so the question is the Ice Rod in that chest?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I feel like if he picks this key up, he will. But the question is when he'll go back there, whether he'll try to put it off. I'm straining my brain to remember what he has. All I can think of is Thieves Town big chest. What is he doing?
He's got the Skullwoods big. Yeah, he did the same thing that Catastrophe did, and went for the boss door.
Okay, that was a good call though. You're right. He has the Skullwoods big key. He's got the Thieves Town big key. Big chest. And he has Pyramid Fairy. And I think that is it.
Eastern... No, we don't have the big key for there yet. So yeah, that's it. Or Pedestal. I mean, he can check Pedestal.
Right. God, if they
can both check
the
it.
big key to Eastern, that'll be really annoying.
Yeah. It's probably a Pyramid Fairy.
So
if it's necessary.
The good news for Stinger right now is both runners are blocked by this exact same sequence of crap. The boots were required to get that Turtle Rock 4th key, which means you had to double dip it, which is hilarious. What a great sequence of events.
Yeah.
And you also needed the bow to be able to get the red crystal to do Pyramid Fairy. So all of this stuff is absolutely forced.
Catastrophe's out of magic.
Oh, that's so annoying.
He should head north of the portal. That tree has its bonk prize is full magic jar.
Oh man,
he knows that. I'm not sure. Looks he's gonna go buy a potion.
Yeah, that's.
He's got 1,300 rupees. It's no big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit slower, but he's just gonna get another green potion from the Batman. So he'll probably be a little annoyed.
Stinger on his side gets a full magic decanter drop from an enemy he happens to kill. Oh man. Yeah, I would definitely rank knowing what trees drop which things as being kind of like arcane knowledge that a lot of runners won't have. Here it is, Pyramid Fairy, big key to Ganon's Tower! Oh, but that still doesn't get him access.
We still need the Ice Rod!
Wow. Okay,
it's
so that's
looking more and more like it's in that big key chest.
That is a very good likelihood. Right now, Stinger is actually, he never checked this dark sewer chest.
That's right, he didn't.
This is good memory by him, or he might even be using...
$5, I think.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
But you do want to get those things out of the way. When you're in this situation, you have very few chests left. You definitely want to be able to remember where your various locations that you haven't checked are. So this is good, either good memory by him, or he's using a map-based item tracker where he can actually mark off what he has checked. But in either case, this is good for him to get that out of the way. He knows it's nothing now. a waste of time, unfortunately, but it will not be just like weighing on him.
Alright, where does he head now? Skullwood's big chest? Probably. If he doesn't want to go into Turtle Rock.
I mean, who would?
Yeah.
Possibly to do the Skullwoods chest combined with a subsequent Thieves Town visit certainly wouldn't be surprising.
Or a head check too. If he's heading this way.
That's true.
Mirror outside of Skullwoods.
The good news for Stinger here is while he's getting trolled by this sequence, Catastrophe 1 is definitely going to get trolled by it as well. And 2 also is the entirety of Swamp and the end of Pod behind him. So he has a lot of room to work with here. But of course, that's not going to help his nerves because he's going to kind of assume like, oh crap, my opponent already did all this.
Yeah. So you have no way of knowing where your opponent is and what they've checked. For all that he knows, there's the ice rod.
That is it.
All right.
That's go mode.
Go mode. Yeah.
StingerPA at 1 hour 56 minutes into this very, very special seed is in go mode. And now we're gonna head back to Turtle Rock, finish it up, and have a nice quick trip to get from there to Ganon's Tower. As Catastrophe is going to finish up the remainder of Pod, and then he'll head to Swamp, and then he'll have to do kind of the same Wild Goose Chase. So far, it's it's always tough to pin down like a lead or a deficit in a race to one particular thing. And certainly in this one, there hasn't really been a specific routing decision that Catastrophe made that really cost him or anything. He's mostly been doing exactly the same stuff Stinger has. He was a little bit quicker to go to those one-off locations, particularly that Thieves Town big chest, which makes sense at the time given how few locations they had, but Stinger opting to go for kind of the dungeons with more locations, I think that ended up paying off more for him.
Yeah, there wasn't too much in the overworld in terms of progression, I believe. It was more in the early dungeons.
Yeah, and for that matter, getting unblocked in this seed largely depended on just hitting that one spot that had the thing and then following the effectively linear progression. And when it's a seed like that, unfortunately, you just have to be the one to get onto that linear track quicker. And in this case, Stinger was the one who got on there. So I'll be surprised a little bit if we see him check almost any chests. I'm sure he won't go out of his way to check the vanilla big key chest, but he may check like the ones at the top of Ganon's Tower just to see. Maybe I'll get silvers, would speed up that kill a fair bit. We're also, we should be pretty happy, I suppose, for both runners that we haven't seen the Eastern Palace big keys. That's good.
Yeah, that is either in the big key chest that Stinger just passed up, or it's buried somewhere in Ganon's Tower. Which is probably a lot better of a place to hide your big keys on Ganon's part than under the doormat, as was the case for Desert Palace on that ledge.
Well, no one ever said that Ganon was smart.
Yeah, he did not get the Wisdom Triforce.
Alright, Stinger making a quick trip back through Turtle Rock. Turns out to be actually pretty fast if you're able to go mode it, so to speak. Obviously, of course, he's already checked all these chests, so he did kind of the hard work. But meanwhile, Catastrophe making the second trip into Swamp. Definitely, you would have to say one of the other plays that probably helped Stinger get a lead here was that trip into Swamp by Catastrophe with only one item available, and unfortunately not turning anything up.
But he gets this big key to Skull Woods. If only he knew what that would lead to. And he could go mode everything.
Yeah, we'll see if he does end up going directly there after this. I think the most tragic possible thing that I'm like desperately hoping will not happen is if Catastrophe decides to first go check that big key chest in Turtle Rock, that will be real bad. And I can't see any situation where he would think that that was a good idea. Like, his routing has been pretty smart so far, other than a couple plays that allowed Stinger to take the lead.
Yeah, especially where he doesn't have that extra Turtle Rock key that Stinger does from Zora Ledge.
Trinex, very quick for Stinger, didn't even have time to really mention it. And it was a pretty straightforward fight with Gold Sword in both rods and collecting 300 rupees for his trouble. Again, with Red Mail and 17 hearts, I'd be shocked to see him bother to go make a potion trip. So he'll head directly to Ganon right now. Ganon's tower, you know what I mean.
Yeah, he should be pretty well stocked just with what came in the bottles when he collected them. He should have at least one fairy left. I think he used one in Meyer. So he should have one left, a green potion, and then I don't remember what was in the fourth bottle.
I'm not sure if anything. I don't remember offhand though.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I almost forgot. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 22 chests in the basement of Ganon's tower as Stinger is entering here, and he's just going on upstairs. All right, see you later. Thanks for playing.
Who needs extra chests?
So with that big key in tow, with 2 small keys, Stinger won't even have to stop to kill any of the mini Helmosaurs or anything like that. He is good to go for the rest of the dungeon here. We'll see how quickly he can clear this dungeon using his strats that he's learned from No Major Glitches speedruns. Always, again, especially the gauntlet of this game, always a treat to watch a No Major Glitches runner do the strats that you have to learn to do this section quickly, because if you don't, you're going to lose tons of time or die. So it's always fun to watch and see what they're able to do. Well,
he gets bodied by every spike in that room.
That's one thing you can do.
It is definitely a strat.
All right, the actual part that people consider the gauntlet. Here we go. All the juke by that Stelphos. Wow. All right, good use of the bow though. Using the butter sword here with its extra reach to take some of these things.
Fairy drop. That's nice.
What a nice
drop. Heart refill.
A little bit trolled by the position of that Zazek there, but he's able to get through.
Beamos was running mid-guard.
They do tend to do that. Stelphos here is a little bit uncooperative too.
Interference, that's the football term. Interference. That's what it's called.
Making it all the way into landmass very quickly. Gonna bust out the fire rod for this one since he's lacking the silver arrows. Took out the first one, took out the second one.
One cycle,
and the third
that's
one.
nice.
Lovely. He got revenge for the first fight there. Very nice. Catastrophe working on the left side of Swamp here. Going to be a little bit disappointed by the results, and then he's going to continue into the back of the dungeon where he will be equally disappointed. Except he'll get red mail, I guess.
Yeah, red mail in the sunken chests to the south
right
of the waterfall
side.
room.
Look at that Cane of Samaria strats on those Wiz Robes. Even though that strat is actually pretty easy to do, like just try it anytime, just watch what Stinger did and pull it off. It's pretty straightforward, but it just looks and feels so good to do.
It makes you feel like a real speedrunner. You just feel so good. It's like, I just did that room in one shot. That was beautiful.
With half magic, Stinger heading on up the stairs, does not need the refill yet. Lights all the torches, he's just gonna bypass the chest. He is.
No need for silvers. We just need our own sword.
Yeah, I know for sure that he's capable of doing silverless, and the question was really as to whether he would feel that the time investment of checking the chest would be worth the potential of getting silvers. But it looks like he's going with, no, it's so late in this race, 2 hours and 5 minutes in, that I'm a little bit concerned if I waste the time to check the chests. So he's just gonna go.
Yeah.
We'll see if he checks the last chest in the game. He does.
It is. It's the key of Eastern Palace.
Perfect. Maybe he'll go there, fight the Armos, and get some silvers.
Yeah, Armos Knights carrying silvers.
Seems like a good use of time.
Yeah.
Alright, Catastrophe making his way directly to Argus. Forgetting to pick up the small key there real quick. I need to go back for that one.
And now Aghanim, he can be your angle or he can be a demon. So get your angles right.
Okay. Alright. You waited 2 hours and 6 minutes to bust one pun out. That is a long game, sir.
Stinger gets Aghanim down. Now it's on the big pig. Meanwhile, Catastrophe, hook-shotting the Argai, has no idea where his opponent is. Can only hope that Stinger falls and falls and falls.
Yeah, and for Stinger's sake, of course, we the commentators generally don't want the runners to make horrible mistakes. We'd rather see the game decided on good routing and execution. So we're gonna see how Stinger does on this fight. Pretty quick first phase for him there, getting 6 slashes in. Sits more on the second phase.
That'll get him into phase 3. Hit him a couple more times for luck.
There it is. 4 hits on this phase to progress to the final phase where he can actually defeat Ganon. Ooh, getting a fire bat.
Out the fire bat circle. Looks like Catastrophe's going to do the Pyramid Fairy.
That is definitely a good play.
Swamp. It's smart. You're right there already when you exit Swamp. And you just got your 5 or 6 crystals, so it's a good route.
Alright, unsurprisingly, Ganon confirming that these silvers were in his tower. Stinger managed to get a spin in before even lighting the torch and still getting the torch glitch. Very good execution there.
That's nice.
And another one there. So very clean fight for Stinger so far, getting a lot of these spins in. Managing his position very well. Oh, almost. Man, I think he's landing nearly every one of these.
Yeah, he's getting almost all of the 3 spin cycles.
Those are not easy. Getting the spins in general, already fairly challenging, but yeah, those in particular, pretty tough.
And he takes down the pig.
GG to Stinger. Finishing up with time to spare. And he will cross the finish line momentarily. We'll get that SRL time for you. And there it is. The official SRL time for StingerPA. 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 10 seconds. Congrats to him on finishing up and moving to 2-1 in the Swiss round of this tournament. As Catastrophe picks up his bottle of disappointment, we will grab Stinger into here and welcome in Stinger. Congratulations on your victory today, and tell us, at the time that you entered Ganon's Tower, did you think that you had ended up falling like way behind as a result of that seed?
It was about 50-50. I was kind of worried. I mean, I basically 100% of the game, except for Thieves' Town Big Chest and Pedestal, which I never checked.
Fortunately,
Yeah.
out Pedestal couldn't have been much.
Did either of us check it?
I believe neither of you did. We might see Catastrophe head there right now. He is at the same stage you were. Oh, no, we won't, because he's going to get the Ice Rod momentarily.
Okay.
So it was beyond a certain point, it was kind of a linear seed. The main point of contention was getting to those pod small keys in Ice Palace. Around that time, when you had very limited options left to check, really, as Catastrophe does pick up his Ice Rod, he will now be in go mode and he'll be able to finish up. What were your options at that point, and kind of what were you thinking? How early were you looking at doing Ice Palace?
Ice Palace went into my mind basically as soon as I found the hammer. Because I knew at that point everything was accessible in there. And it was the only dungeon I could full clear at the moment.
That's interesting. It definitely makes sense. The reason I say that's interesting is there was definitely the opportunity a little bit earlier on. You got Mitt very early. You got Flippers semi early. They were available. And you got some other items, Fire Rod and Bombos. Did you at any point before that think like maybe Ice Rod's being hinted even though I don't have the hammer, or were you just like, no, I'm just not risking that?
I had thought about it, but I really don't like going into Ice Palace without the hammer, even though it was a pendant, and I knew that at the time. But yeah.
You did end up with 2 out of the 3 pendants. There was a very decent chance of Pedestal being involved. Fortunately not.
I was wondering about that through the entire seed, but I was semi-confident by the end that it was not a Pedestal seed, but just because I had not found the Eastern Big Key.
Right.
Which, of course, was Validation Chest. $5 says silver arrows were on Armos.
Well, they weren't. Ganon told you.
Oh yeah, they were in his tower. Never mind.
Yeah.
They were in his basement, probably.
But. Yeah, almost definitely. Did you have any thought at all of checking those last chests in GT for the silvers, or were you just like, no, it's already too late, let's just...
The only one I was going to check was Validation Chest. That's the fastest one.
Makes sense. So Catastrophe, heading back into Turtle Rock now, is going to do his go mode version of this. Fortunately for him, in the end, as it turns out, that the missed key on the Zora ledge not blocking him from finishing the game, which is really good for him. It was already rough enough with this seed. He's going to be able to finish the dungeon and finish his seed pretty soon here.
That was a Ganon's Tower small key, wasn't it? Or was it Meyer?
Zora ledge was the 4th Turtle Rock key.
Oh, I'm completely off base then.
Oh, he did fake us out for a second there by taking the wrong pipe, but fortunately that was not intentional. He does back up to the correct way to head to the end. So, boy, that would be tragic at this point to accidentally do that.
Yeah, we're not really sure if he remembers that he left the key on Zora ledge, or if he just didn't see it.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird moment where he went into Zora domain, we think saw the key on the ledge, went to Zora, bought a key, and then just save and quit. And it could have been like one of those, kind of just brief mental mistakes, and maybe he pocketed that off for like, okay, I'll go back later. Fortunately for him, not being required. He is able to finish Turtle Rock. Technically, it's into logic, but that does not matter because he's got enough keys to finish the dungeon and the items he needs as well. Stinger, I'll bust out one more question for you about Palace of Darkness routing, because there's some interesting situations that arose there with the key progression and the 2 vanilla keys.
You mean the lack thereof?
Yeah, well, you went in with 1, and then you got to go in again with 3. So I guess the question is, like, how did you think about that as you were going through Palace of Darkness, and like, what was your mental progression of how you were going to do the dungeon?
I mean, obviously, I knew the first time I went in, there were only 3 chests in logic. Those were the only 3 I could access without hovering over to the bow lock chest, which I do not know how to do. But I knew there was a good chance there was something in those. And I think it did lead me somewhere. Oh yeah, it had the book, which I don't remember if that had something important on either. It was a key, I think.
It was another small key. I forget which one.
I want to say it was a Ganon's Tower small key.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, that's right.
So Catastrophe has just finished up Trinex, so he has his 7th crystal, and will be heading towards Ganon's Tower now. To make his
very
climb.
clean Trinex fight for him as well. So really, kind of in the end, additionally to, there was Stinger with some very good execution and choosing to, taking advantage of that to do Skullwoods very early, which, by the way, was an incredibly brave play.
That may not be the word I would choose. Dumb comes to mind.
It was somewhat dumb, yeah. There's always that percentage that it could pan out, and
yeah, it
progression
didn't.
you need.
It didn't.
Yeah, today, no.
On the bright side, it did get you that. Like, you just got that out of the way very quickly. You didn't have to go back again. Same deal with Thieves Town. You went in there very early. You did not end up having to go back for the big chest. And Catastrophe, I think we could say maybe the main difference here that started his slide was going for that Thieves Town big chest sooner rather than Ice Palace, and also going for the first visit to Swamp Palace, which unfortunately did not pan out. But aside from that, very good play on both sides, but Stinger just able to, really come up with some excellent execution on some of the fights and some of the dungeons to take a lead and a victory here. Oh, these mimics are being rather challenging for Catastrophe as well.
Oh, that's right. Hookshot was on the ledge in the arena in pod.
Yeah, that's correct. Hookshot.
That was what the progression. That was what the progression was there, not the book.
Right, and then that got you to Paradox Cave, which brought you a big key to Turtle Rock, and then you got to Dark Death Mountain, and you got the hammer there, and that opened up Ice Palace.
Mm-hmm.
And you made that play basically immediately, whereas Catastrophe took a little bit more time to explore his options before doing that.
Yeah, it was between Ice Palace and Palace of Darkness revisit at that point. Or not Palace of Darkness, but there was something I was thinking about, and now I don't even remember what it was.
Trying to think off the top of my head. It might have been that Thieves Town small key at that point.
I think I was actually thinking Swamp.
Ooh.
And that thought went away very quickly.
Yeah, we got to see that play pretty early from Catastrophe, and unfortunately, well, it wasn't a catastrophe, but it wasn't super great. Gauntlet here for Catastrophe, going pretty well so far. Now getting blocked by the BMOs here, but he is making similar use of the bow to take out these Zazuks and various other enemies. Unfortunately, this one's proving to be rather a troll here. Very nice job in the that first ice room. Almost gets the hit on that Stelphos. Almost got the hit on the Zazuk too. Oh, he missed the Stelphos again. Shooting the bow on this ice. It's just not fun.
The ice is the real enemy in those last 2 rooms.
Absolutely. There's a couple
Ooh.
things you can do to make it almost consistent, but sometimes it's just luck how the enemies move.
Yeah, well, that's what's so much fun to
Yeah.
watch about the Gauntlet is that you kind of just have to adapt every single time to something different.
Yeah, sometimes that Stalfos in the last room, he stops short, so sometimes you can shoot straight down. As soon as you enter with the bow, you'll hit the Stalfos if he walks full to the center of the room. Other times he stops short, and whenever you think he's going to stop short and you move to the left, he always walks the full and you miss anyway. Without fail. It's
Good
RNG games.
Yeah, it really is. Good execution of the first Canis Samaria strat on the Wiz Robes there by Catastrophe. The second one also does a good placement on the block and just doesn't quite get to the fourth Wiz Robe in time to take him out, but he gets him on the second cycle just as fine. You do see that blue potion in his inventory, so if he does have any hiccups here at the end or on Ganon, he will be totally fine. I believe he still probably has a fairy as well.
I know he used one. I don't think he used the other.
Yeah, I think both runners ended up using just the one.
Yeah, I think I still had 2 fairies in my inventory. Because we got 3 fairy bottles, I believe.
Oh, is it a third one? Okay.
That was what the fourth bottle was. Or third bottle.
All right, we are seeing these chests being checked by Catastrophe that Stinger did not check. So far, just rupees in those first 2. Probably check the one before Moldorm 2 as well. Definitely preferring to have the silver arrows rather than not. We'll see whether he manages to get them here. We know what the validation chest contains, so this is the last chest that could have the silvers. Be really nice for Catastrophe if they do. But it's just a heart.
But it gives him a refill. Now he's at 18.
After he just powdered the 2, the anti-fairy and bunny beam. Nice quick Moldorm too, no problem there. Stinger, as we get to the last couple moments here for Catastrophe, I'll ask you one last question. That's just, now that you're 2-1, is there anyone in particular that you're really excited to go up against potentially as a 2-1 ranked player?
I mean, I've got a bunch of friends who are either 2-1 now or going to be 2-1 shortly. So it'd be pretty awesome to go up against one of them. Hopefully you will be included in that group.
We'll see, dude. Wolfie is impossible. There's no way. All right, so a two-shot reflect on the first cycle for Catastrophe. Then it's getting a little bit trolled on the second and third there. These angles a little bit hard to work with. Gets a good one there. Another double. And one more double to wrap it up. Now we'll be seeing pretty soon how confident Catastrophe is in that silverless Ganon fight. We got to see it from Stinger, and obviously he's his practice in that strat is pretty evident. We'll see if Catastrophe has worked on this at all as well, or whether his confidence level is high on that. He does have, of course, a fairy, or possibly 2, as well as a blue potion. Does hug the pig one time, manages to use the hook shot to invulnerability through the fire bats, and he's good for phase 3 now. Does get one of those fire bat rings. Oh, and even an extra ring there, but he's good, manages to dodge it. A very obliging Ganon today. Very few teleports. Just
yes, he was very kind. He was almost too kind, and I almost missed one cycle.
All right, Catastrophe opting for the safer strat of getting the torch glitch first before going for the spin, and now here we go. One spin so far. Trying to manipulate this fire bat position. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. Stinger, what do you generally find is the most effective way to draw the fire bats away?
Generally, what I'll do is pass straight in front of his body, and generally, as long as you're walking in a straight line and not trying to do a diagonal at the same time, you'll easily have enough speed to get past the range of the fire bat.
Catastrophe was able to do that just there for a couple of spins, and he was able to get a few of those. There's another one there. Going fairly well so far. He's down to 6 hearts, but again, as mentioned, has like tons of safety, so should be totally fine. Should be down to just a few spins left for Catastrophe here.
It looks like he's found his groove, so he's getting the spins a lot easier now.
Mm-hmm.
Good dodge of that fire bat there as he was prepping with the fire rod, but he still managed to get out of the way. And there it is. Last hit on Ganon for Catastrophe. He will be crossing the finish line momentarily. GG to him. And there's that door. The final SRL time for Catastrophe is 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 21 seconds. Congrats on finishing up. Well, unfortunately, dropped to 1 and 2, but this is Swiss, so he'll continue to play. He's got 2 more matches in this tournament like everyone else, and hopefully we'll have a good time. We'll see if he's interested in joining us for a chat. Also throwing in a comment on the SRL race that he had only 4 spots left as far as he knew, and those were the pedestal, the Turtle Rock Big Key Chest, and the Eastern Big Chest and Armor's Knights.
Those are the exact same ones for me, except I still had the Thieves' Time Big Chest remaining.
All right. All right, we are now joined by Catastrophe573. Catastrophe, congrats on finishing up, and you know what were your thoughts on this overall as a whole?
Early on, I thought it was pretty good. For like the first maybe hour, I played at about my limit. I think I got gloves early. I felt like I checked everything efficiently. I got to do Zora and Waterfall and Quakefish. I got to do all of Hyrule Castle, including the tower. Dark Room, Aghanim's Tower, Escape. I got to do all that. Dark World, I got to do with the mirror. 1 pass. It was pretty good. And then when I did have to double dip, I double dipped 3 times into Eastern, but it was required. 1 trip into Ice Palace, clean it out in 1 trip. So I'm like, man, this is going pretty good. But then it hits the 2 hour, and I'm like, man, I'm an hour in, and I've got 4 dungeons beat. That's above average for me. I feel pretty good about this. And then it's like, well, I just need, a bow, some boots. They're in Turtle Rock, last place I looked. And then it's like, I just need an ice rod and a Ganon's Tower Big Key, and I'm all set. And then it's like hour 40, hour 45, 2 hours, I'm in Swamp Palace, and I'm getting nervous, and for good reason. My opponent finished in 209, and I'm like, I'm still 2 items away from go mode. Where are they? I think the ice rod actually needed me to go to Swamp Palace first, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. And then where was the Swamp Palace small key?
Laser Bridge.
Laser Bridge.
Wow. I'm glad I got it. So wow. So I remember I chanced the first chest in Swamp Palace once. That was a bit iffy, but I was running low on options. Yeah. I think I checked Magic Bat twice. That was also a mistake. But the first time I checked Swamp Palace without the small key, that wasn't a mistake. That was just me being desperate and looking for that last item. I'm like, give me a Boots, give me a something. And then Boots ended up not doing a thing for me. I think it maybe gave me a Turtle Rock big key off. No, it didn't. The
Gave you
small
the
key.
small key in Desert Palace Torch.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but you did
that was
actually-
needed. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
needed.
so I think you very accurately summed up like our exact experience as the commentators and Stinger's experience pretty much as well. The play definitely the kind of the plays that set you back a little bit were heading into Thieves Town for the big chest and the Swamp Palace play before doing pod. And I mean, I think you're right. Like it's hard to say those were mistakes more than just, you know, what was left at that point. Very little, and going to pod is
Spike
bad.
Cave, jump into Turtle Rock. Well, Turtle Rock, it was like, oh, let's go into Turtle Rock with one small key and no ice rod. Like, no, who would ever do that? Well, both of us. I don't think there was any way to beat this seed except to go into Turtle Rock with no ice rod and one small key. Like, how far are you going to get into Turtle Rock with one small key? Don't do that.
So there is actually one note, which is a thing that I'm going to ask if you overlooked this or kind of gambled this or what happened, but Zora Ledge had a small key, and you never ended up collecting it. That was actually a Turtle Rock small key.
Oh, that was a mistake.
Okay,
Oh.
that's kind of what I thought. Fortunately, it didn't like ruin you.
Yeah.
The Turtle Rock double dip was required. You had to go to Laser Bridge and then come back later.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Well, it's possible that... No, because Swamp small key. Yeah. But it's possible that I could have double dipped, whereas my opponent only single dipped. That is true. That would have really, really ruined me.
Yeah, I ended up having to do a double dip anyways.
Yeah, we
I
were
mean, with
very
the
glad.
Palace. Yeah, that's right. The bow. Yeah. How about Eastern Big Key being in Validation Chest?
Yeah, my bet. Well, I was hoping that silvers were going to be on Armos, but apparently they were just in the basement of the tower.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't. When Ganon said, "Did you get the silvers?" I wasn't even reading the text, so they were in Ganon's tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my tower was what
Yeah.
he
How
said,
about
yeah.
that? So all those spots checked. Like if you look at my tracker, my comment was, "I have 4 spots left, 2 in Eastern," which the big key for those 2 was in the Validation Chest, Pedestal, and that one vanilla big key spot in Turtle Rock. I checked everything else, and I didn't get silvers. I'm like, thanks, game.
What is your confidence level normally with Silverless Ganon?
As long as I have Tempered Sword, it's fine. I made some mistakes there, but I was nervous. Like, if you remember in Swamp Palace, I went left side swamp, but I didn't hit the switch. If I remember correctly, that was just over the 2-hour mark, and I'm like, oh god, my opponent's in G Tower, oh god. I bet I was right too, right? Because if he finished in 209, he was probably maybe just escaping Turtle Rock, and
I think I got into GT around the 201, 202 mark.
Yeah, so it was after 2 hours. I was in Swamp Palace. I did, I did left side swamp, but I forgot to hit the switch, so I had to do left side swamp twice. But yeah, that was nerves, because at that point it was just after 2 hours, so I knew. But yeah, regarding Silverless Ganon, if I'm not nervous, it goes a lot more smoothly.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I had Butter Sword and half magic, so it was never a question.
Yeah, as well as, I mean, the seed was really generous on fairies. It just poured them on top of you. And then you also had the blue potion that you stopped to get. So that was like, yeah, you were totally safe on that.
Yeah,
thing.
I never used the blue potion, though. I never used the green one either.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very, to be honest, the two of you had pretty similar routing until it got to the point of that Ice Palace play where that was kind of the place to go. Or I guess more accurately, the pod play. I think Catastrophe, you followed Stinger to pod like kind of shortly after him. But then the Ice Palace play came a little sooner from him, and as a result, he got those pod keys. And from that point, the seed was kind of linear. So unfortunately, there was just not really a space for you to catch up at that point.
Yeah, I agree. The seed was very linear, so I'm not surprised. we were following each other. I did Pendant Ice Palace last because Pendant Ice Palace is Pendant Ice Palace. But yeah, it had the pod keys to let you get deeper in the pod. Yeah, and that's where the hook shot and the quake was, and you needed the quake for both dungeons.
Yeah.
So and then you're done. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to ignore whether dungeon is crystal or pendant until I hit go mode. Just because Keysanity limits you so much sometimes, you just gotta go with what it gives you.
Yeah. Well, Ice Palace in particular, like if it's Pendant Skullwoods, I might do it. If it's Pendant Thieves Town, I'll still check the first 4. Pendant Ice Palace is just usually so far out of the way. And past the first chest, it's a good long walk before you get your second chest in Ice Palace.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if I go into Pendant Ice and there's nothing in there, then I've given away like a whole 5 minutes or something drastic. And I think Ice Palace only has 8 chests in it to begin with. So yeah, but no, you're right though. If it has 7 big 20s and then a fire rod, you have to do it. So yeah,
That's Randomizer for you.
Yeah, sure is.
And we do see from the collection rate comparison on the screen here, both runners ending up having to darn near full clear the seed with the 179 versus 175. Stinger managing to skip out on just a few things that Catastrophe ended up taking.
Yeah, there were a few things I looked at but didn't take. Like as far as I know, there's only 4 green dots on my tracker. So, because I even did, Aghanim's Tower, but not Aghanim himself.
Right. Well, probably a good time to start wrapping it up. Catastrophe will direct one more question your way, and that is, as far as your personal goals for this tournament, now you move down to 1 and 2, but you had the victory on the first week against Manuel. So I guess my question will be, what were your goals? What are your, how have those changed, if at all, and what are you looking to do going forward in the last 2 matches?
Just win as many as I can and don't melt down, really. I mean, 226 isn't that far off of my average. My average is closer to 220, so to full clear the game and still finish in 226 is, I guess, fine for me. Just keep doing that and see if I can win it again.
Yeah, I would definitely clearly not describe this as melting down. You played the seed pretty well, with the exception of a few gambles that didn't pay off for you. You can't even say that anything particularly went poorly. So good job to you. Congrats on finishing up. And Stinger, again, congratulations on your victory today, moving to 2 and 1. And we'll see who you end up drawing. Maybe one of your friends in the next round. We'll see. Baker, do you have any final thoughts for us today?
Well, just to remind everybody that if you liked what you saw here, drop the runners a follow. They're good runners. They've still in this tournament. There's still 3 matches for each of them, or 2 matches. I don't remember how many rounds there are.
I think 2 more.
Swiss, and I'm in this tournament. I don't know what I'm doing. There's going to be more races. Follow the Speed Gaming Network. The link to the past Randomizer Network. There's going to be races happening all the time the next few weeks. And give my co-commentator a follow, Volugian. Give the tracker a follow. There's a lot of hard work goes into making these tournaments.
Yep. And of course, my co-commentator, Who42 Baker, please also give him a follow. Doing a great job tonight. I had a great time commentating with you, so thank you for joining.
Yeah, it was great commentating. This nice 1 a.m. match. I love these late nights.
Yeah, now by this time it's almost 1 a.m. for me on the West Coast, so sleep soon. But yeah, I'll reiterate the thanks for our tracker tonight, Cell, doing a great job making sure that you all know, all you viewers, of course, all know what each of the runners has. And as always, thanks to Speed Gaming for hosting this and many other tournaments, including, I will drop a plug for the Ori and the Blind Forest tournament, which is ongoing. If you've not seen the matches from that tournament, the production level is just off the charts. We've got replays. It's absolutely amazing. And of course, there's tons of other good ones, including Mega Man X. I know there's a Mega Man 2 tournament coming up, all sorts of stuff. You can find more info by scrolling down on your screen and looking below the stream. But for now, that's going to do it for us. On behalf of Cell, Who42 Baker, StingerPA, and Catastrophe573, thank you all for watching, and have a good night.